Welcome back to This Is the Show, our Mandalorian after show. I gotta say, just out the top, I'm feeling great.
Out the top.
Out the top, right? Off the top? Whatever I want to say. I don't know.
Top.
I'm feeling so good, I don't know what words are anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
You've been working nonstop since...
And in a good way.
Like 6 a.m.
Yeah. It's been a 12-hour day so far, and it's going to keep on going. But I have been just over the moon the whole day. It felt great.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, we're going to save our Bad Batch talk for tomorrow. Loved the episode of Bad Batch, but what happened in the Mandalorian episode today just... I don't remember the last time I've been like this emotional just as a Star Wars fan for just about every reason I can think of.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. And I don't know, people probably know who we're talking about and who we're so excited about, but we'll get into it.
Yeah. But before we do that, let's bring in our guests. We have two great guests from Thank the Maker podcast. It's we were just joking. It's been kind of our musical season for guests as well, because we are so excited to have Nick from Bayside and Adam from Story of the Year joining us to talk about this episode, Chapter 20, The Foundling. How are both of you?
So good.
Hello there. I'm great. I'm just ecstatic.
Adam's in Australia right now.
Yeah, Adam's.
So
it's the morning for Adam. It's the evening for us.
Yeah, time is weird.
You don't sound Australian.
Time's a weird
dude.
thing. Good eye.
You don't look upside down either.
How you going? Yeah, the toilet's going the other way. It's a setting on my camera to flip it around. So you guys
okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh, and I should also point out, because Adam's wearing the shirt, but you both throw just the most amazing Star Wars celebration party. Star Wars celebration.
Yeah.
Mosh Eisley is the absolute best.
Thank you.
So thank you for putting those on.
It's a lot of fun.
Thanks for attending.
And hopefully we could do a ton more. We're working on it for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, we're doing San Diego Comic-Con this year, and it's going to be bigger and better and wilder and more of everything than the first two. So we're stoked. Tickets are on sale. Plugging already right out of the gate.
Go.
That I needed Mosh Eisley at Celebration Anaheim. Like, it was the perfect break. I didn't need the hangover the next day.
Yeah,
but
that's what happens.
But it was worth it.
Dude, I could see it on your face in the pictures. I could tell that you were just living your best life.
Yeah, just all the music I love, cutting loose. The next day, everyone in our videos was like, "Why does he have eyeliner on?"
He wouldn't let me get all of the eyeliner off of his face. He's like, "It's fine." So just like it made it look even worse. But we had a great time.
Horse's emo.
I slept in my makeup. It was great. Well, real quick before we get into the Mandalorian in this episode, I have to ask you, because you're your first time guests. I ask everyone this. Well, Adam, we'll start with you. Who is your favorite, like, lesser known, underappreciated Star Wars character? Who's your glup shitto? Someone that you think you could maybe be the biggest fan of in the world?
Keller and Beck. Do I do that now?
I think you can. I think that's a great answer
to do that. Yeah. I was thinking about this a lot yesterday, and then this morning was wild, so I was distracted and didn't come up with a less obvious answer. So I'll go with that, because today is that man's day.
Today of all days, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't know if it's lesser known anymore. At one point, Cobb Vanth was for sure lesser known. And once you put, like, handsome Timothy Olyphant, who's also hilarious, who clearly just has everything going for him, now he's in Star Wars, I'm like, okay, that's my guy. Love Cobb Vanth.
Yeah, he can't have it all.
He does.
Apparently he can.
I know he does. He's also
on his way.
I know we were just talking about, I brought up Conan before we were recording, but him and Conan, there's like 2 podcast episodes, and Timothy Olyphant is like the funniest person on earth. And I'm like, oh, great. Sure. Mm-hmm. You do have it all.
We should get him on the show.
Yeah, we'll find a way. That he doesn't have it all yet. Once he's on Star Wars Explained, then he'll have it all.
Yeah, the circle will be complete.
I love both of those answers because I mean, A, they help us segue right into the Mandalorian. B, they're both correct answers. I mean, any answer is correct, but Cobb Vanth is one of my favorite characters as well, and I think Kelleran Beck today just like jumped to the top, just for like the memory of today and how it happened. I think I'm always going to remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So let's just jump into chapter 20, Foundling. Nick, what was your immediate reaction to watching this episode?
Immediately, I was very pumped. I'm really feeling like this fever dream when I'm seeing Bo-Katan just being a Mandalorian at this point. Like I'm like, what is going on? You know, like is the armor being like totally truthful and accepting? Like I don't know. So I really like their covert on the beach. It's so cool. I loved seeing them train. There was something. I think there were a couple of real Game of Thrones-ish things, including some of the soundtrack, like the music in the episode. So I was getting that vibe, but yeah, I mean, I'm getting to Kelleran Beck. In a good way, seeing him and hearing his name took me out of Star Wars for a minute, and I was just really happy for the human actor named Ahmed Best, you know, and it took me out of a speeder chase in Coruscant, and I was just stoked for him as an actor. I mean, a lot of people aren't going to know who that is, so that's cool. It's just going to go over their heads. So in a Star Wars like community sense, I was really happy for him and for people like us who are just like, oh my God. But I thought the episode was great. I'm really like, I'm itching for more, you know, what's going on with Bo-Katan and the Mythosaur. And I truly think that as the season goes on, the armor and Bo-Katan are going to be the ones at odds. So we'll see. I hope I'm right because I see something going on there.
I can see that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious. Did either of you watch Jedi Temple Challenge while it was on?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit of it, yeah.
Yeah.
That became like a weird Wednesday night reoccurring thing for us. Like we would have a few drinks, watch this kids performance show,
game show.
I don't know what game show, and then we absolutely fell in love with it. So
it was something when they announced it. I was like, yeah, we'll watch it. Like I loved Legends of the Hidden Temple growing up. So it was like, we'll check it out. I'm sure it'll be kind of cute and fun. But the fact that it came out like in the height of the pandemic, everything was locked down. And yeah, it might have been on like around the same time as the Clone Wars. I feel like we did something all day. And then that night we would be like, let's kick back with a drink. We'll choose a color. I was like team orange, Molly's team blue, and then we would just root for the kids. And like we watched every episode as a ritual. And like Molly has the hoodie and happened to be wearing it this morning in our reaction, which was
nice.
Working out. Yeah, like we had no idea. So that was just we are genuinely fans of the show.
Yeah.
we did those Halloween costumes. Was that 2 years ago?
It was 2020.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. We dressed up as the kids. Yeah.
2020 just it exists on its own plane at this point.
I think that
the world between worlds.
Yeah. Put it there where it belongs. Adam, what was your reaction to the episode?
Much the same as Nick's. I had one of those experiences like I've had a handful of times with The Mandalorian and season 7 of the Clone Wars, where I'm getting goosebumps right now. Like where I'm just so thankful. I'm taken out a little bit because I'm just like, part of my brain is just thanking Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau in real time, like in the real world. And the other part is so deep in the Star Wars universe. I just keep saying to myself over and over, like, oh my God, they're doing it. Oh my God, they're doing it. I can't, oh my God. I watched the whole thing like this. Like once it happened, I was just like I couldn't believe
punch.
I saw Ahmed Best on screen. Like, oh my God, I was taken out, Nick, like you said, but in the best way, because it is such like a community thing to support that dude and see him kind of come back from the dead in a way, literally almost dead. I mean, the dude was literally suicidal 15, 20 years ago over the Jar Jar thing. So God, I was just so completely overjoyed, and he killed it. And it was like, talk about like the best second chance redemption situation of all time. This dude to play the hero who saves this generation's most beloved Star Wars character.
Like, yeah, one of the
Mhm.
most iconic characters of all time.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
it's Ahmed Best there. It's not a digital performance. Like, not hating on digital performances at all, but like that's his face. He is kicking so much ass, and he is just like protecting light and life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Protecting. I love everything about it.
Yeah.
During
Yeah.
our reaction, when he showed up, and as soon as he said that line, "Everything's gonna be all right, kid," I started to well up because I was like, he might as well be saying that to his
Oh my God.
Yeah.
past self, you know?
Yeah,
And
good
like,
point.
this is the ultimate healing experience for him, for fans of him. It was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the ultimate? Is this the number one fan service that Star Wars has like ever had? Like, what could be more fan? This is only for fans. Like, my
Yeah.
mom doesn't know who that is. No one, like, so many people do not know
That's
who
fair.
Ahmed Best is.
Yeah, like I think that's a good point that it is very deeply rooted in so many things. It works on multiple levels because it works on the Ahmed Best level. It also works for the story. Like if you know Keller and Beck, you're like, yeah, he's a teacher. He dedicated his life to younglings. This is a perfect choice to have him save Grogu. And then you keep going, and it's like this is all in a flashback that's been set up by the armor to say like we all are shaped by our trials and adversity, which I think that's putting it lightly what Ahmed Best went through, but like it fits in with the themes of the episode. It's not just fan service, but it hits you on so many levels. That's what I felt
So
like.
many layers.
When we saw, well, first we heard the name. They were like, "Get him to Kelleran," and Molly and I both go like, "Kelleran Beck."
I thought of
And then-
I thought for a split second maybe that was a planet, and then we were like, no, Kelleran Beck. That's Ahmed Best's character's name, right?
We both just kind of went, "Kelleran Beck, really?" and like kind of perked up, and it still didn't register in my head that we might see Ahmed Best on screen until those doors open, and we were like, "Oh my god!" And I just felt like all those emotions, all that history as a Star Wars fan hit me at once, and like I just started tearing up immediately watching him also be the sabered hand, like that's his nickname as a teacher, and I'm like, he's so awesome. It's perfect. I love that scene so much.
Yeah, I same thing. I teared up immediately and just couldn't stop the whole time. I was just like crying for this human being, like we keep saying, and again, Order 66, like they can hit us with it 100 times and it's still as devastating every time. But in this case, like uplifting, because it wasn't like by the skin of his teeth, just like, it wasn't like a lightsaber went right by Grogu's face and, kind of suspense, scary moment. It was like, it was a hero's savior moment. You know what I mean? And, God, it was just so good. And every time I think about it, I tear up again.
I've been on just the verge of tears all day because I keep I'm writing about it. I'm looking at images from it. Like I'm basically going frame by frame through to get good screen grabs, and I'm just like, God, this is so good.
We're also seeing like so much more of Coruscant too. Like I wasn't expecting to go back there after the last episode, and we went back through the same area where that mountaintop is, and we saw even more of Coruscant. Like that shit looks so good.
Yeah, there was
in
a
the tunnel,
scene too,
right? That's the shortcut, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Anakin's shortcut, right?
There was also just I don't remember seeing the temple on fire, the Jedi temple on fire, but there was a scene in this. I think when he was on the speeder, I'm like, yeah, I kind of forget like how in ruins that was because of Order 66. It was just there was like so many flames, and just seeing like Order 66 as like not so focused on a Jedi, like seeing it spread out into Coruscant and become a chase and all this stuff. It's like, okay, we've seen it in the temple before, and now you get to see it like kind of spread around Coruscant a little bit more, which was pretty interesting.
And how
I
many
think,
more
yeah,
of those were there? How many other chases and stuff? You think
Yeah.
about, like
yeah,
you're saying,
where
it wasn't
like gunships
localized.
are
It was
just shooting buildings as
Yeah.
they're trying to shoot
Yeah.
Jedi down.
Avenger style. Yeah.
Yeah. That there was something else I wanted to bring up. I guess it's just that the extra level of, like we talked about Cobb Vanth, that was just a very rewarding feeling. Uh, if you read the books and you're like, wait, are they really going to bring this minor book character into this live action series? But to do that for Jedi Temple Challenge, like I also think that that's got to be very vindicating for the people who worked on that show. Which it genuinely was a very fun show. So not just Ahmed Best, but just having watched that and knowing his character from that, like he has a great sense of humor. I thought he was very funny as the host, but then to see him get to be the more serious, kick-ass version, the flip side of just the teacher, I thought was great.
And on
So
that,
good.
not to like just keep going with Ahmed Best, but
I mean,
as
I
you
knew we were going to for a while.
as you undoubtedly know, Liam Neeson talked about how much he loved him when they were shooting The Phantom Menace and how funny he was and how surprised he was that he got all the hate. Because I think the quote was something like, I thought this guy was going to be the next Eddie Murphy. He was so funny, so witty, so personable. So it's great when, something like that show lets him do it a little bit, lets him bring out some of that personality. And then, like you said, he gets to be a badass too.
That's
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people, a lot of articles written. I think we even said it tonight. Like I get what people mean when they say redemption for Ahmed Best, but in my mind, I'm like, he doesn't need redemption. Like he didn't do anything wrong. I hope this is redemption for the Star Wars fandom.
Yeah.
That we
Right.
like now we see him and we're like, yeah, you should have had this love all along.
Yeah.
And he's getting it now. And
Yeah.
it
It's
feels
more like
good.
justice for Ahmed Best. would be the
that's a
slogan.
better way to put it.
And we talk about, when we first started our podcast and we were really just covering movies and shows and just the basic Star Wars stuff, we talk a lot about expectations and like starting with Return of the Jedi, probably every single Star Wars thing has like, every Star Wars series or movie, comic book, anything has like astronomical expectations that ultimately like almost can't be lived up to at this point. So like as a fandom goes, it becomes this like learning how to interpret and accept Star Wars. Like it really is like a personal thing. It's like if you're going to let something like, there's probably people out there, I assume, that are pissed that Ahmed Best was in the episode last night, So it really just has to do with like the right amount of expectations, which I still like struggle with here and there, It's
Sure,
like
sure.
I all we've thought about for a year, and this is a conversation we had going into like the Rise of Skywalker or the Last Jedi, like who's Rey's parents, who's Snoke, and then when like you don't get the answer you want, of course you're going to be like let down a little bit, but that has so much to do with like you, not Star Wars. It has everything to do with you. So like that's such a big thing with like last night, the couple of seconds of confusion that I was like, that's who saved Grogu? Okay. Like, but then second watch, by the end of the episode, and then second watch, I'm like, this is pretty cool. This is like a really good, like, especially with a lot of points you're all making, that like he was the teacher of children and all this stuff. Like there's thought put into it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, we all speculated for 2 years once Ahsoka said someone took him from the Jedi Temple. And of course, we're all like, Quinlan Voss. Like, look at this insignia on the wall. Was it Barasafi?
Yeah.
Did the Bad Batch teleport from that one planet to come save? Like, what? That, like, so many theories. And it does build up expectations. I never once expected Keller and Beck. I should point out there were a couple people that tweeted that 2 years ago. Just kind of like, yeah, it's wild. RM Network on Twitter, someone tagged me in a tweet that they sent to us 2 years ago, and they were like, maybe Keller and Beck.
No
I was
way.
like, holy crap, that's amazing.
That's like that guy from The Good Place, the one that got it right, that they have framed
Yeah.
in The Good Place.
Yeah, he needs to frame that tweet. But like that, this is one of the times where I built up expectations and speculation and all that, but the answer we got, I was like, this is so much better. And I never would have thought of it. I never would have been like, it should be Keller and Beck.
Yeah.
I'm just over the moon.
Good for him, man.
Yeah. I'm really happy about it. We should probably talk about the other half of the episode. Other 2/3. It's like 2/3 of the episode.
I mean, the show is called The Mandalorian, I suppose.
Well, give me the Adventures of Keller and Beck, which
Oh.
I should
Well,
say
quickly,
we're probably. Oh yeah,
I should show my drawing. I forgot that I tried to draw Kellen Beck
Nice.
It's great.
on my whiteboard here, but yeah, I had to draw him, and I ran out of room to draw the lightsabers, but I got a little color in there.
Well,
Great
I
job.
ran out of time, but I also just drew my favorite scene, and so that's
Okay, wait a minute. That
there. I set the bar real low, so
okay. I feel like I ran out of time also, and also ran out of artistic creativity. Here's my drawing of
whoops, wrong one.
Bo-Katan dreaming. Where's my camera? Bo-Katan dreaming of the mythosaur, but I just wrote the word
Oh.
mythosaur. I didn't want to draw it anymore. I was like,
It's-
I've no
it's
more
hard to
art
draw.
left in me.
I've had a challenging morning, so I didn't draw anything. But I had a great idea in my head. I was going to do Jar Jar as Kelleran Beck with
Oh.
Grogu. But,
Ooh,
you know,
I like
it's the thought that counts, I guess.
yeah.
It is. I had no time today. I like forgot until 5 minutes before we started. But okay, let's dive into the Mandalorian part of this episode, which still I'm always impressed that I think they do a great job of tying flashback stories, present day stories together. That the flashback, all the Keller and Beck stuff was about protecting a child, and same thing for the present day story. We're still about like protecting the next generation, teaching the next generation as well. Right at the start, we see Din like kind of putting Grogu into the deep end as he challenges Ragnar Vizsla to a duel. So,
Yeah, I don't know.
but
How
I wanted to
feel
throw
about
that to you, Molly, because I know you had a lot of noises to make while that was happening.
I was just like, oh, like it didn't seem fair, but I didn't really know how to feel about Din just wanting to throw him into combat training, because it made me think of like however long he was training with Luke was probably instilling all of this knowledge about not fighting and not using the Force to fight, and you know, all of that stuff, the Jedi way stuff. So for Din to be the one pushing him to challenge this kid to a fight, I was like, that must be so confusing for him. But I guess he did choose this life instead of the life of a Jedi. So it's tough to imagine what's going through his mind, and if he is still struggling with the idea of not using the Force for combat reasons, or if he's like, yeah, no, I'm ready to become a Mandalorian and fight and get my armor and start talking so I can get my helmet.
Those looks that he was giving Mando, there was like 2 shots of them that were like the looks my dog give me when he's like, you know, it's like, is that okay? You know, it's like, can I do this? Like there were 2. I'm still amazed every time I see Grogu that it's the cutest thing I ever saw. You know, and like now you're starting to get like little accessories on him. Like how cute was his little like gauntlet? I'm like, oh my god! Like I never even like his little toy, like he has toys now, you know. And I just literally like giddy thinking about his little gauntlet and him. I think Din was like, just squeeze your fist to like shoot the dart. I'm like, yeah, squeeze your little fist, Grogu. It's gonna be adorable.
Plus Bo-Katan being the one to like kneel down and and hook it to his little hand. I was like, what are we seeing on TV right now?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yes.
I thought that was an interesting little dynamic of kind of a mother-father situation almost of her being
Yeah.
like, don't worry, my dad was the same way,
Mhm.
and like go easy on Ragnar, all that. I thought that was an interesting way that they are positioning Bo-Katan now.
Mm.
Yo, speaking of mother father, something just popped in my head as you said that. When Mandalorians are married and they do the business,
Helmets
keep
on
their
or
helmets
off?
on for that too.
Oh, helmets on or off? Hmm.
I get like obviously it would be different for Bo-Katan, Satine, like anyone from the Clone Wars era. But the Children of the Watch, I guess you'd have to ask Paz Vizsla. But I don't know if Ragnar is his biological son or his foundling son.
Right.
Because I mean, I think that Mandalorians, like Din treats Grogu like that is my son, and so I don't know.
Well, that brought
It's
me
a great
to
question, Adam.
one
It's an
one of the
important question.
things that I had. One of the things that I had trouble with in this episode was when they're off and around the fire, and Bo-Katan's like, "How do we eat without taking our helmets off?" You just go find a quiet spot off to yourself and then go eat by yourself. I was like, that is so depressing. I was just like taken aback by the idea that that's how they do that. I was like,
like what's a
man, that
family dinner?
sucks.
Is it like a reverse table? Like you sit and face each other?
Yeah.
Or face away? Like what?
I'm
So
all
weird.
for, hopefully by the end of this season. This is why I want the armor in Bo-Katan to be at odds, because I want the way to be gone. You know, I want the helmet. I'm tired of it.
I think that's something I was thinking about earlier today, is that sometimes they say this is the way and you're like, yeah, it is. And sometimes they say it and you roll your eyes. And I love that it feels to me like I grew up very religious, so it's the definition of, or the difference between faith and religion, where like faith is good. It at its core, I think it's good, where it just can help people remember to care about one another. But when you get really deep in religion, you start to care about all these different weird rules. And so Paz Vizsla twice, I think, in this episode said, this is the way. The first time he was like, you get to sit next to the fire because you're the hunt leader. Bye, this is the way. And you're like, ugh, Paz, what are you doing? But then later, when his son is saved, he and Din share a this is the way. And you're like, yes, because it's a universal thing that like we should just protect children and stuff. And so like that way, this is the way feels good. But the other stuff, all their helmet rules, and like that's what I want to get rid of. Throw away your rules, just like be chill. Everyone be cool. That's the way.
That's the way. Yeah, that's going to be the
get,
new saying.
How about a 75-25? You know, like 25% off. Let's
a little bit of give.
That's I really like the phrase. I think it would be awesome if at some point that covert, they all have their helmets off and they do something sick together and they say this is the way, and you're like, there you go.
The new way. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something also very awesome and meta about the phrase "this is the way." Like since the first time that we heard it a couple years ago, it's become this like new mantra. Like I use it in texts a dozen times a day, even with people who aren't really into Star Wars. It's just such a thing now. It's also like really cool how it's used as a writing device, and this appeals to like the the Star Wars Explained Wikipedia kind of like angle on things. It's a way to do exposition in a way that's not just like an exposition dump. Like if you really were trying to learn like what are the actual ways of the Mandalorian, like what are the rules of the Children of the Watch, they do something, Din says this is the way, and you're like, oh well, check that one off. Yep, put that on the list. I know that about them now, and I know this about them. And Favreau just does a really good job of doing exposition in that way, where he shows there's a little bit of dialogue with the tag "this is the way," and he shows things that help fill out that Wikipedia article, just like how whistling birds work. Now we know you do the fist thing. You this is how you eat. This is how you do this. So I enjoy that from like an OCD angle. Also, it's just it's very it's satisfying.
Yeah, I liked how everything with the Mandalorians, there were no real faces. You had Grogu and you had masks. Like that's all we got. But like it worked because we've gotten used to like paying close attention to the little mannerisms that everybody does, and like everyone in those suits is doing a stellar job at acting the hell out of these scenes, because it's hard when you can't have your face to like use your eyebrows and your eyes to convey emotion, and your mouth. And like Bo-Katan did get to take her helmet off once. That I just remembered that. But other than that part, no faces.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
I mean, there's so much to do. I mean, we talk about, you know, the score a lot that helps, you know, portray feeling, but then also whoever the like director of photography or just the director in general, like there's so many like pushes on, you know, camera pushes and angles and stuff that are like these subliminal things that really do help, where we're borderline sometimes we have chills and we're crying and you're looking at the screen and it's just a mask. You know, there's no emotion coming at us, but they are really truly portraying the feeling that they want us to all have. It's great.
I was probably still riding off of the Keller and Beck stuff, but when they're pushing in on Paz Vizsla and he's like, "Thank you," I was like, "Oh, look at how nice and like appreciative he is." And I was like, "Wait, he's like, I can't see his face, but I still feel that."
Yeah. Well, it's cool because that scene, I think the angle is kind of like the camera's looking downward at him just a tad. All the scenes where he's trying to be big and intimidating, the camera's slightly lower.
Right.
So he looks bigger, more intimidating. Plus, he's just a huge guy, so that's easy for him.
Yeah.
Is that
combine
still
that shit in
Favreau's voice? Or was it ever? It was.
Right? I think it's Favreau's voice.
It still is? Okay.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Credit to the actors for sure, because we talk about this on the show quite a bit. Mask work is like a specific acting discipline that is taught. You know, it's like a theater thing that isn't necessarily standard acting. You know, and you know, if you just want to be like a Hollywood actor and you're not planning on wearing helmets per se, you may not learn that, but it's a skill, you know, to use those little mannerisms to portray, like you said, all the stuff that you can't do because your eyebrows and everything else that we know to look at is obscured. So credit to the actors, but like you're saying, Molly, the direction is so huge because those are little subtle things that most people don't understand, but they subconsciously tell us so much about a person's, you know, like the power dynamic in a scene or in a shot, and it's just expertly done. We're lucky as hell to have this. I can't.
And I think about who's actually, it's Lateef and Brendan Wayne, like they're stunt people. They act with their bodies, so they're truly like the perfect people for this role.
Which glad that they're finally getting more recognition.
In the credits and all that.
Yeah.
And Adam, great point about the direction. Like, shout out to Carl Weathers. I am loving seeing him come back for a different kind of episode. Molly like just got it into my head because it's true. In season 1, his dialogue, when he delivers lines, it seems like you're getting ready for a theme park ride in a good way. It's just very over the top and like bombastic. And then his episode last season was like a theme park ride. Like you go off the big jump and you're racing through the canyon and stuff. And I was like, man, this is fun. But he got to do still a bit of a theme park chase. But I thought that he did so much today that it was just fantastic.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm disappointed in is the fact that he didn't get to direct the premiere with the giant alligator to, you know, redeem Chubbs Peterson. Damn alligator bit my hand off. Cut me down in my prime.
There was the alligator in this one, though. It was more of a like, there's always a bigger fish moment.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the other things that bugged me about this episode, just the Mandalorian stuff in general, these are like little nitpicks, but I was like, why are they still training on this beach? There's a giant alligator monster. There's giant dinosaur birds coming to steal children. Like, maybe find somewhere else to train.
That's what I was saying. Like, what? Who chose this planet? And why haven't you left? I love that they're all just shooting their weapons into the water, like just in case that turtle dinosaur comes back.
Yeah.
So weird. And then we talked about this earlier, Alex. The scene where Din and Paz go off on their jetpacks, and then we don't know how far they actually went, but for the people watching this as a TV show, it happened so quickly. They were like, oh, out of fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it felt like they didn't get very far at
It
all.
looked
So I
like
was just
they
like,
went pretty far.
what?
It's
Can we
just
get
something you
like
don't
a
think
clock
about.
wipe maybe as a transition to let us know it was a while?
Yeah.
It just in my head, it's Star Wars, so I was like unlimited fuel in those jet packs.
Right.
Yeah.
I never would have thought
Yeah.
that like,
Not-
I'm out of juice.
Not for long distance travel, which is understandable.
Pretty badass.
Did they walk
so...
back though?
No, I think Bo brought
Oh,
her
yeah.
ship. Bo must have picked him up.
Well, they were
that's-
already back by the time
Were they? I
she
don't
landed
know.
again.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was
I don't
trying
know.
to work that on my head. That was
I had to watch it
weird.
again.
Maybe they're solar powered. They just had to recharge, so they
Yeah.
walked back a bit.
Bo flying around in her gauntlet is one of my new favorite things.
Yeah.
I love that ship so
Mhm.
much.
yes.
Like even the inside of it looks really cool, like where she sits to pilot it. But that scene or that shot of her in the gauntlet in the sunset with the dinosaur
yeah.
bird, I was like, this is so good. I love
Yeah.
this ship.
Mhm.
Okay, here's a nitpick to end all nitpicks. Ain't no way they fit all those Mandalorians and those 3 baby birds in that ship when
Yeah.
they all came
Clown
out.
car style.
Yeah, I was relieved because I when they killed the mother bird, I was like, oh, but those babies are dead. So
Yeah, I was so bummed. Yeah.
yeah. In like they did a great job of non-fatally attacking the creature to get Ragnar back, and I was like, good for all of you. And then the turtle dinosaur got it. But I'm so glad that in a story about protecting the next generation, they were like, okay, we can't let all of those babies die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's the one nitpick that I've been vocal about. We try to like keep it fully positive on Thank the Maker, but I'm vocal about being not at all on board with the idea that you have to kill some giant animal who's just trying to survive every other adventure, you know?
A lot of them.
It's just, I mean, Favreau, that's his thing, I guess, you know, kill the beast. And I'm not on board. So when that ending happened, it really made me feel better about the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that Bo-Katan was the one that was like, here's some more foundlings for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
What do you think
that's how
about
it works,
that?
right? Yeah.
Which I assume by the end of this season, they're going to be riding those things.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
another
Yes.
Game of Thrones thing. I was like, at first I was thinking like, oh, we have a mythosaur, you know, eventually we'll have Purgle. I kind of am like teaming up different characters with animals at this point, just figuring that they're all going to be on them flying around, or Boba with a Rancor, you know, like I don't know who the antagonist is, but I could picture this almost like Avenger style, like every one of our favorite characters on some sort of animal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
think of, assuming we're building to Thrawn, what he could potentially ride.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or he's just like, oh, I was not expecting this.
Yeah.
He befriended all those Purgil, and he's going to ride one.
Nah, they don't like him. No way.
We don't know what happened out there.
Isn't there something in a comic or something? I'm picturing him young and shirtless. Is he riding some kind of animal in that, or was he just standing atop of a bunch of people he just slayed? What am I thinking of?
I think you're thinking of the comic adaptation of his novel.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he
Yeah, he's
escapes,
got long
right?
hair.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
there's an ATST in that comic.
Okay. Which
I think
know,
that's what.
it's like
Which
a
you
robot
can-
animal.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
kind of ride. I guess that
Yeah.
counts.
So while we're talking about creatures, that's a good segue into Bo-Katan. Getting some new armor, which I really liked that. When you saw her shoulder pauldron fly off, I was like, oh. I was kind of hoping we get a Bo-Katan flashback, because that seems to be just
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
when
wanted
you
the
get armor.
armor's room to be the new Boba Fett back to
Yeah.
tank. Like every time we went in there,
Yeah.
we got
Yeah.
flashbacks.
It kind of is. It really clicked
Yep.
in this one. Like every time she starts hitting that thing, it's like, where are we going? Where are
Yeah.
we going back?
I still think
I
we'll get
assume
some...
that's metaphorical, but I wonder if it really does have mystical powers to transport you to your past.
Oh yeah, she said that it can pinpoint weaknesses or something like that.
It's like a hypnotism thing. It's like the tea and the spoon, you know, taking you to the
Yeah,
sunken
yeah.
place. You know, it's the
Yeah.
ding, ding.
I mean, really,
Yeah.
what do we need to know in Bo's past besides like how she lost the Darksaber, right? That's probably like top of the list.
Well,
I would
That's the big
assume.
thing. Yeah.
It's nothing that we need to know. but my parents could
Yeah,
be
yeah.
filled in on
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
a bit.
Yeah.
And which I meant to bring this up earlier, but I would be curious to hear from someone who didn't know who Kelleran Beck was, like if that landed for them or not. My parents called me today while I was in the middle of writing. They were like, "How was The Mandalorian? We're gonna watch it tonight." I was like, "It was awesome. I'm excited about it for reasons you will not understand."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, a good friend of mine, our guitar tech, Bon, who Nick knows as well, huge Star Wars fan, but he didn't know. He recognized the actor's face vaguely, but was still enjoyed it just as much for the Order 66 flashback, which is always great, and then all the Mandalorian stuff. But he was intrigued. So I would guess that that's most people's thing. Like, ooh, this guy was awesome. He has to be somebody important. So.
Yeah.
I definitely saw a spike in my Kelleran Beck video from 2 years ago today.
Yeah, I went in and looked at the comments and sorted by new, and a bunch of people were like, "Woohoo! Hi from the future." Yeah.
That's an interesting idea that like someone would be like, "Ooh, who's this guy?" And then they just watch Jedi Temple Challenge.
Yeah.
Mandatory viewing, Jedi Temple Challenge.
Star Wars Double Dare.
Yeah.
Basically, God, I wanted to be on that show so bad. Just
So
like
Guts?
me and
Guts was the other
Molly
one?
and 4 children.
Oh yeah, just shove them and I'm out of the way. Be
Get out of
like,
the way.
kid.
kick you.
Trip.
I don't think they would want us to do that though.
All right, I got a little sidetracked, but I wanted to bring up Bo-Katan and her admission, or at least her attempted admission at seeing a mythosaur to the armorer, and the armorer just being like, "Oh, sure you did."
Yeah.
That's cute, honey. Yeah.
Basically,
all right.
just patted her on the head. Yeah.
When you walk the way, you see all kinds of things.
Which
You must be new here.
that was shocking to me that she brought it up like that. I wasn't expecting her to. But yeah, that was cool.
Like
She was just
why the armorer not Din? Like why did Bo
Right,
tell the
yeah.
armorer not Din?
yeah.
Interesting.
And it kind of plays into what you're talking about, that there could be a power dynamic between them. That I wonder if the armorer internally is like, oh shit, like there's a mythosaur, and then but she's like, nope, you didn't see that, you didn't. I'm just leaving for no
Total
reason.
misdirection.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why I was hoping for some Bo-Katan flashbacks, because I want to see. First of all, I want to see her dad. I think that would be cool to see because she brought him up. But I want to see what her life was like back when. She didn't necessarily follow the way, but she was more into the traditions. And then I still don't know if it's going to come up, all of her stuff with Death Watch, but like that would be cool to see in a flashback if it comes up, because it might.
I feel like it should at some point. We made a joke today during our reaction that Vizsla said something to her, like called her a night owl derogatorily or something. And then, like as he's walking off, it's like, also, you knew my dad. Bye. It's like, Paz Vizsla and Pre Vizsla are related. Like I would think he would know who Bo-Katan is.
Yeah, but because Bo-Katan is like having her world shaken up so much, it'd be interesting to see like some flashbacks to how she used to think and how she was raised, because she was basically royalty. And probably heard a lot of stories about mythosaurs and tales, and maybe was like, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
All of that stuff is so interesting. Talking about direction and the way they block things and how they position characters. There's been such a huge shift in the past episode and a half from her like dismissive sitting on the throne, like, yeah, you and your stupid religion, all this kind of crap, to, and talking about royalty too. She has this like aware of her privilege, yet still feeling like she deserves things kind of privilege vibe, to being framed in a way like in the scene, she's down lower, she's sitting, she's got this tone in her voice when she's asking, like, is it cool if I put the mythosaur on my pauldron? Like everything about her voice and her body language is so different now.
And
I don't know if
she's
there is going to be conflict or if she's just like now just seeking approval.
yeah, and like she keeps looking over to the mythosaur skull that they've got hanging in there, but the armor is like in between her and that
Oh,
skull.
yeah.
She's kind of has to like keep looking
I
past the
like
armor.
that.
Yeah.
Like the mythosaur
what
is the
she-
symbol of like true faith, and you have
Yeah.
the rule maker
Yeah.
in the middle. Nice, Molly.
That's smart.
Well, I
did
mean, to you know,
You did a literary.
expound on like what Molly's saying. I mean, it really before the way existed, the way like the Mandalore existed, right? Like the way came after, like that sect, that cult came after. So the true leader of Mandalore needs to be riding on a mythosaur with the darksaber, you know. So Bo-Katan sees that. Well, she's the only one that knows a mythosaur actually exists, and Din is right there with the darksaber. So she's like, "Wow, I think I could do this. I think the pieces are here. I
Yeah.
can rule everybody again." We'll see.
God, they're stacking it up. They're stacking the deck.
Yeah.
I'm so pumped.
It's so interesting what they're doing, and now that we're halfway through the season, I think that the whole show has gone. The season has gone faster than I thought it would. I thought Mines of Mandalore would be the end game. But I think things will probably continue to pick up.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm with you, Adam, where I don't know where Bo-Katan is headed. She does seem a little more like I think that she is one of the foundlings of the episode. You have Grogu and Ragnar, but also Bo-Katan is like, how do you eat here? And like she's being taught basic rules. So I kind of see her as being this newbie to the group that is kind of finding her way and acceptance.
And she hasn't pushed back once. You notice like she's been asking those questions and she's just kind of following along now.
And I mean, she did lose her. She's the last of her line. She's basically an orphan. She just lost her home. She has nowhere to go, no people. So last week I was like, is she playing the children? Is she happy about this? But this week I think that she is feeling some comfort there. But I'm hoping that like they find a middle ground.
Yeah.
That she helps the armor chill out, but the armor can also help Bo find her faith and her hope again.
When was it that Din told all of them about the fact that Mandalore is not poisoned, the air is breathable? Was that this episode or was the last one?
That was last week.
Last one.
Okay. I keep waiting for that to come back up. Like for someone to be like, can we maybe go to Mandalore and check it out?
It's
and
cool
especially now because Paz and Din are kind of cool.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to want to explore that option.
Yeah. I think I know last season, which I assume it worked as far as like the trailer came out for season 2, almost all of the trailer footage was done in the first 4 episodes, and then we got Wild. Then we got Ahsoka and Luke and all this stuff, you know? So I would assume that same thing has happened, and I'm hoping and assuming that the next 4 are just like absolutely wild.
The only trailer shot I can think of off the top of my head, because I'm waiting for Carson Teva to come back. I'm sure there's another shot or two, but I think for the most part we've gotten through the trailers.
Well, we've got to go back to Navarro and see what that fight is all about.
Yeah.
And we have to go back to go to the droid bar, which we still haven't seen.
Molly's got scenes off the top of her head.
There you go.
I still wonder if he wants to try to get IG-11 back, which is what we were thinking a couple episodes ago, why he might go to a droid bar to find that one part. But yeah, we see a bunch of shots of all the Mandos on Navarro. Fighting. I assume the pirates come back.
Yeah, that would make sense.
We got to see that one pirate again, right? The Kale guy.
You don't bring in.
Guy.
Oh yeah, what do people call him? Sorry, go ahead.
Old Greg.
Thing.
Yeah, that was one.
Kale Organa.
Kale Organa, that's what it was.
Oh my God. Isn't he he's being set up to be the big bad in one of the kid
Skeleton
shows.
Crew.
Skeleton Crew, yeah.
I
Right?
read that rumor. I'd be okay with that. A bunch of scrappy kids fighting vegetables. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it's VeggieTales meets what do you call it?
Power
The damn
Rangers.
movie. The Goonies, there you go.
The Goonies.
Goonies, yeah. Oh man.
Well,
Damn, there's
did
another
we-
thing.
Did we miss anything from the episode?
I think we've covered everything. Do we want to talk about Ahmed Best for another half hour? I don't
Well,
know.
I mean,
Yeah.
bring back. There's gotta
Okay.
be a reason for the ship was a Naboo ship. but
Yeah,
how
okay.
the-
Where do we
Oh,
think?
oh, yeah.
they're
Nubian,
going
huh?
from? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was going to ask, any ideas about whose ship that is? Because that model was phased out, and it's like 3 degrees of separation removed from whatever, what Padme was flying in episode 3. Would that even be a royal ship?
I think it was her episode 2 ship. I think it was what they took from Naboo to Tatooine.
Was that the H type?
That was a J type, right?
Was it a J type?
I think J type. Oh God, we're getting into it now.
We're
I think
nerds.
J type was Phantom Menace.
Yeah, the long, skinny, right? Like paper airplane, chrome paper airplane style.
Yeah.
That's
I
what I only watched the episode once, but that's what I thought it was. Because
One
the episode 2 one was much wider, more like the
Yeah.
SR-71 kind of thing, and then her.
That's the one at the start of the movie. But then from Naboo to Tatooine and Tatooine to Geonosis, they take, I think, what we saw today.
Okay.
And then it was in the Clone Wars quite a bit. So I guess it's
Hmm.
just like a senator little shuttle. Something.
Yeah, just like a political or
Who was a
royal
senator?
Kind
Who was a senator then?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're seeing
Oh, man.
we're seeing a lot of Binks love
Yeah.
in the chat.
Well, my first thought was maybe Padme had something to do with sending it, but then thinking back to the scene of her in Revenge of the Sith, seeing the temple on fire and being like, I don't know what's going on when she's talking to Anakin. I don't know that she would have had time to send help in that direction, but Jar Jar.
Yeah.
yeah. That's
He's got nothing
that's
but
kind of
time.
perfect. Yeah.
Grogu underwater.
This is what
Oh, that
I
makes
haven't
sense because
seen.
on
he says
Naboo.
these are my friends. I'm gonna
Ooh,
take you to my friends. It has to be
Mhm.
Jar Jar.
Exactly.
I mean, and then we could get Keller and Beck and Jar Jar in a scene together.
Yeah.
And the
I mean-
universe rips open.
The
Time and space.
Time space continuum. The world between worlds opens up. The Mortis gods walk out,
Oh my god.
and our faces melt. I have not seen this yet suggested, and I like it.
Ooh.
Sabe.
'Cause she's been in the comics and the books a lot.
She has
too.
been in the comics and the books quite a
Interesting.
bit. They can still get Keira Knightley.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yep.
She's barely aged. I mean,
Yeah.
throw her in there.
Ooh. Ah, I like that a lot. I mean, I like Jar Jar too, but
My reaction is always like, oh, I doubt it. But if you had told me Keller and Beck was going to
Yeah.
save Grogu, I'd have been like, no.
Yeah.
Keller and Beck from the YouTube children's show.
Yeah.
It's just in the Mandalorian now.
My money's on Jar Jar. It at the very least, it's my headcanon.
I'm
Gungans in general. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm settling down for another 2-year wait to find out, and then it'll be something that we never considered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be one
But
of the
it'll be great.
contestants. One of the contestants from Jedi Temple.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Todd
the
from
droids?
Nebraska.
it could be the 2 droids that were with him. I forget what they were
Mhm.
called.
Yeah.
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 No, my money's on Todd from Nebraska now. That's perfect. I think we've covered everything in the episode. If there's
Yeah.
anything else either of you want to bring up,
I mean, last thing I'll say is, you talk about, we keep making the joke like this is the Mandalorian or this is the Book of Boba Fett. Like, what are we doing? And feeling like we're doing these major side quests or off-topic flashbacks. But that flashback was fully about Grogu, and as far as I'm concerned, he is as much the Mandalorian as Din
Mhm.
at this point. So
I mean,
that qualifies.
this series and Star Wars love to have like the double title
Yes.
name. So yeah, I never really thought about it that way. Like my assumption was always that this series would be about Din starting as a lowly bounty hunter covered in mud, rising to become Mandalore. But yeah, I like that too, that it's also about this foundling that is becoming a Mandalorian. Just
Yep.
the way this very episode, you could say the foundling is Grogu. I mean, Din was a foundling. Could be Bo-Katan. Could be Ragnar. Could be the three birds.
Mhm.
Like, it could be anything.
Last question: what the hell is the helmet going to be shaped like? Do his ears just get smashed down? What are we talking about? Here?
They gotta leave room
Have a
for them
hole,
to come
right?
out.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
showed this a couple episodes ago. I don't know if I'll be able to get it to focus, but someone made us this custom little figure,
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
and his ears are
great.
just popping out there.
Yeah.
They're so
I think-
unprotected, though.
Yeah,
That's a good
it's true.
way to bring up. We were talking about getting rid of the way and the helmet rule and stuff. I kind of think that as Grogu builds up his suit of armor, that maybe the helmet will be the thing that breaks Din.
hmm
That maybe he'll
Yeah.
go like, wait.
Wait, I can't see that face anymore.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not gonna hide that face.
Yeah. Was this
And
the first time?
that might be it.
I had one more tiny inconsequential question. Towards the beginning of the episode, we saw his like chainmail, like Beskar little shirt. Is that the first time we saw it just sticking out of his robe? Because then when she opened and put that, what did she call it, a fondrel or something? Just the round piece
I
of
forget.
Beskar. Like then we saw the whole shirt, but previous to that, you saw it sticking out, and I was like, I don't think I remember seeing it sticking out. Like I feel like we knew he was wearing it, but we just didn't
Yeah.
see it.
we
Well,
saw
this is
it
in the-
in Book of Boba Fett, just
Right.
barely peeking out at the
Yeah.
top.
Pulls it down. And he says, "Oh, you got the shirt."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I believe you can see it throughout this season as well, a couple of times. But yeah, Molly and I were talking about how the extra plate seems a little redundant. Like,
Yeah.
Seems a little Flava Flav style.
Yeah.
yeah, you chainmail and now a big old circle, which I get. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything, but
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was going to be at least shaped like more of a chest piece, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a big. I thought she was making him a little shield, which I was
Yeah,
like
same.
really excited for, because then he could throw it like Captain America. He could still do that, but yeah, it just like fits right on top of the shirt, which
Yeah.
Okay.
When's this kid gonna get some new clothes? Also, like he's walking around in this burlap sack.
and now he's got
Like,
paint
Now-
all over it.
now it's
Yeah.
got paint on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. God, imagine a little like really nicely tailored and stitched Mandalorian undersuit with his little legs.
Oh,
I'm gonna die.
Oh, by the way, like just watching him walk a little more, the
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
he kind of like shimmies,
Waddles.
I
Yeah.
can't handle it.
I just shake my head like literally 100% of the time. I'm just like, I can't believe how cute he is. It's ridiculous. I'm not tired of it. It's getting cuter. Like,
And like I know there's a dude right behind him in a green like
Yeah.
spandex suit, just like doing
With the
this.
sticks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Don't care. So cute.
I did just watch Pedro on Hot Ones, and they asked him a question, and there are apparently two Grogus, like one that has more of like the facial kind of aspect to him, and then there's like just more of like a puppety one. But yeah, I mean, here's another thing. Did you notice they did make him look a little younger in the flashback?
Oh, yeah.
His ears seemed a little smaller,
He
right?
is even littler.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So cute.
so little.
Did it also seem to you guys like they're leaning into the live puppet even for the running stuff? Like there was a little bit of CG in season 1 when they would do the wide shots,
Mhm.
Mhm.
but it seems like even the flips and stuff, like they're just taking the sticks
Yeah.
Yep.
and doing this thing, you know?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you look at Luke doing a flip in Empire, and you're like, okay, sure.
Yeah, you just hit the wires. We got it.
Yeah.
yeah.
We
Still,
know what's going on. I don't care. Looks amazing.
I'm happy about
Trampoline,
it.
wires, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that behind the scenes shot, just sorry, off topic, when Vader throws Luke through in The Empire Strikes Back, throws him through the big window. Have you seen the behind the scenes shot where the dude does the trampoline flip?
hmm
Oh, yeah.
I love that. That was so, like one of the coolest behind the scenes shots ever.
Maybe someday they're gonna bounce the puppet off of a trampoline.
Just-
Like, just see what
just
happens.
spike it.
Boom. Yeah.
Oh.
It's $1 million puppet.
At the end of the episode, when they get back and like all the other Mandos are like walking over to the gauntlet to see what happened, he's just kind of like waddling along, and I'm like, someone pick him up.
Yeah.
He wants to see what happened too, but that would just be me constantly picking him up if I were there.
Yeah.
Papa?
You look like you need help.
Yeah.
And a hug and a squeeze.
Yeah.
I do love that all the Mandalorians are fully on board with him. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't look like anyone else there. He uses the Force. He is an enemy sorcerer, and they're all just like, "Yeah, he beat you, Ragnar, fair and
Yeah.
square."
Well, wait, have they seen him use the Force? Because those were crabs on the beach. They weren't. It was misdirection again.
I
don't
guess they
think
could
he
just think
has.
he's a really good jumper.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we
Strong
saw
legs.
Yoda doing that, so
I mean, the armorer knows, definitely. I don't know if the rest, if other people.
Right.
Yeah, that's
right.
true.
they
it's
would all
like-
be like, a witch!
Yeah, part of me thought that the armor would be like, "Ooh, that's against the rule. That the Force is not the way." But the fact that even she was like, "Come on in, Grogu, let me make you some armor," like that made me happy. She is a character I keep going back and forth on, where she was awesome in season 1, and then she got real into the rules in the Book of Boba Fett, and now I'm like swinging the pendulum back the other way, where I'm like, okay,
Yeah, the fact that she even entertained a conversation with Din when he came back to be like, "Hey man, is it cool? How do I get back in the club?" You know, like the fact that she even let him in the building essentially was some welcomed character growth on my end. But it's interesting because I don't know. It's like you said. So at some point early on, you feel like she's going to be the ultimate antagonist, but now she's just kind of part of. I don't know. She plays
It's
an
lulling
ambiguous
you into
role.
a false sense of security right now. They're
Yes,
making it
yes.
and then it's
Yeah.
boom.
She's so mysterious at this point because she kind of is playing both sides a little bit, and every time you think she's had enough and she's gonna snap, she doesn't. Like, I thought she would. I mean, she did have this one moment where she kind of stopped when Bo-Katan brought up the mythosaur, but otherwise she seemed totally calm about it and was like, "Yeah, okay, sure, whatever." I'm sure you saw one.
What's the running theory on who she could be? I saw a photoshopped Emily Swallow photo the other day with purple hair from the Clone Wars.
recast is that's a popular one because she was part of the Mandalorians. So the
Yeah,
horns on
yeah.
her helmet.
Yeah.
Maybe. I kind of think it's going to be, if it's someone we know, it won't be someone we expect, kind of like today. But I'm thinking she's just a new character.
Yeah.
That's
I would
that's
prefer
my
that, but
expectation right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
cool
Well,
show.
Yeah, great show. Well,
Love it.
thank you both for coming and talking with us for an hour. I know you were
course.
about to go
Yeah.
and record your own after show for Thank the Maker podcast. Oh, go ahead.
I
Molly.
do want to bring up 2 super chats.
Okay.
So, first one was from Maddie Gunner. This is the collab I've been looking for. Much love to Thank the Maker, not just for being in 3 of my favorite bands, but showing that Star Wars is punk rock and the community they've created.
Hell yeah, Maddie.
Nice.
Thanks,
Thank
Maddie.
you. Thanks, Maddie. Thanks for being a patron also.
We love Maddie. We're so excited to hang out with him in London.
Yeah, celebration. Stoked.
A proper Londoner.
And then Sean Room with a super chat. Just a deep thank you for Mosh Eisley. It was the best, one of the best nights I've had in years. You all are the best.
Thank you. Legitimately the best party I've ever been to in my life. That first
It
one.
was so much fun.
Yeah.
Both of them.
It was
I
great,
should,
and-
you know what? I'll publicly apologize to Nick for drunkenly making my way to the stage in Anaheim and being like, Nick, can you play Motion City soundtrack? And you did it. And I was like,
Easy.
thank you, but also I'm sorry.
No, apology not accepted. I loved it.
I was just tired and delirious and drunk enough to be like, I'm gonna go make a request.
It's great, like I did. I don't think you guys were there, but I did. Alex Backus from Black Series Rebels in 2019. We did on the Sunday night of Celebration in Chicago. We did like a meetup there and played emo music. It wasn't like
Oh no, we were there.
Yeah. Okay, you guys were there.
Yeah,
So,
I remember
that was like the initial idea. I was like, there was like 80 to 100 people ish there that night on a Sunday, and it was snowy, and it was nowhere near the convention.
Is it the nail bar? Is that what it was
Beauty
called?
bar.
Beauty
Yeah,
bar,
yeah,
yeah.
beauty bar. Yeah, yeah. So when we, Thank the Maker was a thing already, I'm like, I feel like on a nice Friday or Saturday night in Southern California, close enough to the convention, we could, we could have some fun. And I think the first one sold out in like a week and a half, and then
Yeah.
we did one in Vegas that wasn't connected to a convention. It was connected more to the When We Were Young festival. But me and Adam were going to play anyway. So we're like, let's
Yeah.
see what happens, And that one, we had even more people than the first one. So yeah, and now we have San Diego Comic-Con in July, which should be great. So it's fun. It's great. The Star Wars community is such a big thing that it's amazing to find your own little niches here and there. And this is one
Yeah.
that like we're just so happy exists, and hopefully we could just keep letting it grow.
Just to fully clarify for anyone who doesn't know what the hell we're talking about,
Oh.
this party is like a straight up Star Wars themed emo night, essentially. And most people are in costume. I mean, if you just go to @ThankTheMaker on Instagram, you'll see pictures of whole crowds with lightsabers up, everyone just like screaming their lungs out. And it's become this amazing thing. And it right away it did at the celebration, where people aren't just in costume as Star Wars characters. There's like this new little slice, this new niche, like Nick's saying, that is Star Wars punk rock, Star Wars emo, and like the mashup costumes or outfits or whatever that people are making are their own thing now. It's like we went from dressing up, like actual Star Wars to now our Mosh Eisley cosplays or bounds or whatever you want to call it, but it's an awesome party. And I keep saying this, we just stumbled into this idea that ends up being the most perfect intersection ever of these two types of fandoms, where for original Star Trek, I said Star Trek, original
Gotta
original
kick you
trilogy.
off now. That's it. You one strike.
See you later. For original trilogy Star Wars fans, Star Wars is really punk rock. Like the fight against the rebellion is a very punk rock kind of thing, and the prequel trilogy is super emo. Like Anakin's the most emo person in history. So it's just such a perfect intersection of things. And we didn't realize that at the beginning. It wasn't calculated in that way at all. It just kind of hit us. It was really that night in Anaheim. I was like, oh my God, look what we did. Like, look what we found.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked as hell that it's working, and we're stoked to just keep doing it every time we can.
Yeah, I loved doing my emo dark ray that night. That was so fun.
Yeah, the second one in Vegas, I got a Han Solo vest, but I like had pins on it, patches. I put out like black little like spikes and stuff. So I went more like punk or emo, like I had Han Solo pants on. So it wasn't necessarily like a bound or cosplay, but it was just more like an in-universe punk guy, Star Wars punk guy.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
We need to throw what's from Visions? What's the punk rock band?
Oh, Star Waver, yeah.
Yeah, we need to throw that in the playlist.
Ooh, yeah.
It's a good idea. And I get compliments on the shirt as well, just from like random people.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
They're like, what is that? That's cool.
Shout out to Mike Forrester, our boy, Hondo Supply from Armor Party Podcast, who designs everything. He's also the unofficial fourth host of Thank the Maker, but he's just such a great designer. And I just, again, I feel lucky that this is happening. It's the force at work.
Yeah.
Well, I think you sufficiently plugged Mosh Eisley, but also quickly tell everyone about Thank the Maker, because I know you're about to go record your own breakdown of the episode, so people can listen to that too.
Yeah, Thank the Maker is it's an audio podcast at this point. We're trying to make the transition to YouTube, but it's, as you know, a big jump. It's three dudes from bands. It's Nick from Bayside. I'm from a band called Story of the Year, and Ryan Key, the lead singer of Yellow Card, is the third host. And it's a general kind of like Star Wars breakdown type podcast. We've covered all the movies. We've covered every episode of every show so far. minus Resistance, I guess.
Mhm.
But either way, we cover everything day of, and when we're off season, we get some great guests. We had Paul Sun Young Lee, I guess, was the last big one on, and it's generally just about, just like the title says, kind of like celebrating Star Wars and the things we love about it. It's not a review show. We're not critiquing anything per se. If there's anything about anything we watch that we don't love, we just kind of don't mention it. There's enough negativity and crap out there. So we talk about what we love. We share some of our insight as artists and how that applies to, the creators of the show. And it's a pandemic project that's become like a full-blown passion project, and now actually like a little part-time job. And we get to hang out remotely, the three of us, and be Star Wars bros every week.
Yeah, it really was at Celebration last year. The three of us were walking around on the first day pretty early on, and normally people would come up to us and say, "Hey, love your band. Hey, love your band." Literally for the first 2 hours, people were just like, "Love Thank the Maker, guys. Love Thank the Maker." And we all just
It's the
kind of like
best.
had a moment where we're like, it's really cool after like over 2 decades of being a musician and being in our bands and being known for that like we got a little community created around like, yes, what we do, but also Star Wars. And it's been so fun. And as Adam mentioned, there's plenty of negativity out there. It's great to be able to contribute to positivity and with my hopes, kind of like almost like teaching people how to have fun with Star Wars again. It's like
Yeah.
it's really, you kind of have to be reminded as an adult to how to connect to things that you used to connect to and love when you were a kid. And it wasn't really our mission statement, but I think it became that, is where it's like, not, like Adam said also, like we kind of just don't mention things that we don't like. Not that we're not critical here and there, but a lot of times people just need to like hear other people have thoughts about something that they don't like in order to be like, this is how I processed it. Like
Yeah,
that helped me hear you say that,
Oh,
you know?
yeah,
right.
totally.
Yeah, Alex, when we started doing improv, I felt like that helped us out a lot to just yes and Star Wars.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like that would help a lot of other people, because the whole idea of improv is like learning how to pretend again and
Mhm.
just play and think on your feet and just kind of accept whatever gets thrown at you. So since we got into improv classes and watching a lot more improv, I don't know, like I yes and everything that gets sent my way that is Star Wars, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. I don't hate it. Some things I might question, but I'm gonna yes and it. So I think that would help a lot of people.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's one of my teachers taught me, like improv is just learning to use your imagination again, and it's like something that just gets kind of beaten out of you at a certain point, and then just
Yes.
being like, yeah, and even if you don't like a Star Wars thing, you can at least look at it and be like, what is it saying, and we can talk about it. Now our dog is barking, but
Sorry, that's Finn. Finn did that. Sorry.
no, it's all right. Like we understand, because Hilo will just decide he's got to yell about something occasionally, and he has decided now.
Now's
But
the time.
That's I can't, like, the weirdest thing about doing this channel is that if I could go back to late high school me and just be like, all these bands that you listen to right now, you're gonna hang out with them and talk about Star Wars with them one day. Like, what? Why? It's so wild. So
You know why?
thank you
Because of
so
the
much.
internet. And
Yeah.
you'll be like,
Yeah.
what's the internet?
Star Wars is truly the great equalizer. And
Yeah.
I say this like unfiltered to fans who I've met through the Star Wars community, through Thank the Maker. It can be really awkward being on, well, either side of the equation. If one person's a big fan of what someone else does, it's kind of hard to find something to genuinely talk about that isn't awkward as hell. If someone's just like, I love your band,
Yeah.
and you're just staring at each other. Okay, now what? Now what do we talk about? Because I don't want to talk about my job per se so much, but Star Wars, it levels everything out. And the kind of connection we have with fans of our bands who are now patrons, who are part of our community, who we talk to on Discord, and we help kind of dissect episodes and share our feelings together. It's just so genuine, so unforced, and so special. So again, I'm just all I'm feeling is thankful that, recently and especially the past 24 hours, everything just feels pretty awesome.
Yeah, today was a good day. That's how I started
Yeah.
the video, and I'll say it again. It's really
Didn't have to
good.
use my AK.
Well, we will let the two of you go and record your own podcast, but thank you again so
Of
much.
course. Thanks for having us.
Would
Yes.
love to have you again. That was a blast.
Anytime.
Cool.
We
Well,
are
have a
available.
great-
You have our information.
Well, we've had Molly on the show, so Alex,
Uh-huh.
you got to come on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
anytime. Well, Nick, have a great
Sweet.
rest of your evening. Adam, have a great rest of your day, and a great tour.
It'll be a good.
Yeah.
And let us know when you're in Atlanta.
We'll be there
Absolutely.
in July with Yellow Card.
Ooh.
There
We'll
we
have
go.
be there.
a different 2/3 of Thank the Maker podcast. So I won't be there.
Awesome.
I'll
All right,
hit
thanks
you up.
again, folks.
But thank you both.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was awesome. That was super fun. We went long, but that was just because they were great to talk to.
Yeah.
So we're gonna dive into some super chats and questions, and I knew that there would be a lot today, and it's time to buckle up. Molly, do you need to take a break or?
Well, I'm going to scroll down because we had a couple of very generous super chats that I'm going to try to get to.
Okay.
We don't have too many. I think we can get through these in the next 2 hours. We'll see.
I thought you were gonna say 2 days, but okay.
In the next 2 days. AJ, thank you so much for the very generous super chat. The armorer has a sample of the living waters. Maybe she already knows there is a living mythosaur. Seems like she knows more than she tells the others, like a cult leader keeping all this knowledge to herself to control the group.
The stuff that makes the water globe blue is mythosaur pee. So
Ew.
that's how she knows that there's a mythosaur back.
I mean, I do agree that she's trying to keep this group together under her watch. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when they're all like, "Hey, Din said Mandalore's fine. Should we go there?" And whether or not she wants everybody to do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
did you have more to say?
No,
Okay.
that's just the mythosaur pee thing. But I mean, I don't know. I keep going back and forth on the armor and how is she as manipulative as I make her out to be? Like I think I put a lot of my own religious background and thoughts into that. And I'm like, I might be making her out as more of a villain than she actually is. But who knows?
Yeah, we keep waiting for her to do something drastic, but she seems so level-headed that she
yeah.
can't be trusted.
She's a stickler for the rules, and I don't like holding up the rules over actual faith. I forget who said it in the chat. It might have been I'm the Stein earlier, saying it's the difference between faith and dogma. That's a good way of putting it, and that's how I see her acting, where I think she has faith, but she is also like, but well, the helmets, and that just doesn't sit well with me. But she also hasn't done anything that terrible.
Yeah, and you don't want to piss her off because she's real good with that hammer.
Yeah.
Miranda here has the next very, very generous super chat. Thank you so much. Hi, long time since I made it in time for your live streams. Do you think they included Umate in this episode as well as a parallel to the mountain they have to climb on the Covert's planet? Another compare-contrast of saving younglings. Ooh, I didn't think about that.
I didn't either. I figured they just made the the asset so they reused it. In our reaction, Molly was like, "Hey, we just saw that," and it was like, "Yeah, they're probably just gonna keep it." But that is interesting because they did have to climb the mountain to save Ragnar. Bo-Katan brought up the mountain peaks from Mandalore. I can't remember Coravoris or something.
I don't know.
In my opinion, it was just, we made this environment, let's use it again.
Yeah. And I mean, it's great because it works either way. And we don't know if that was on purpose, and maybe we'll find out if they do a gallery episode or something, but if not, we can just assume that was on purpose.
But yeah, I do like that. There were a bunch of mountains in the episode, and I tend to I'm trying to remember what the line is from The Dark Knight Rises when when Joseph Gordon-Levitt becomes a detective, and I can't remember anyone's name that isn't in Star Wars anymore, but Gary Oldman says, Commissioner Gordon, he's like, you're a detective now. You don't get to believe in coincidence. That's how it feels to be a Star Wars fan sometimes.
Ooh, yeah.
Also, I wanted to point out, Dino Park Dan was the one that talked about faith and dogma. So
gotcha.
Credit to you.
Awesome. All right. Yes, we have a lot of super chats to get through. Thank you all so much.
I was going to go refresh this. Would you like a refresh?
I'm good. I didn't gulp mine down like you did.
Oh, well, it's been an hour and a half.
I always just get worried that people can hear me swallowing on the microphone, and that bothers me. So hopefully you can't.
I'll be right back.
Okay. I will go ahead and scroll all the way up here to our first super chat of the night. And that is from Queersland, Australia. Thank you so much. Keller and Beck got a new outfit, but that got me thinking, have we seen gold trim on Clone Wars robes before? If not, do you think he's a fan of the past? I have seen a lot of people wonder, before we've seen him in this, I've seen a lot of people wonder if the Jedi Temple Challenge takes place during the High Republic. But I think he's just got really good taste. You know, he likes his style, and a lot of the High Council Jedi are so stuffy. I mean, even Mace, like, it's so stuffy that like their robes are just boring. Mace has the purple lightsaber, but I like the idea that Keller and Beck is like, nah, I need some flair to this outfit. But I would like to get a closer look at the details on his robe, because it's similar to the Jedi Temple Challenge details. I don't know if you guys can see that. Like, some of those symbols look similar to what's on his robe. So I did like that.
I got to pull up an image of him to remind myself what his robes look like with all the gold. But yeah, you're right.
I said that he just has good style and likes a bit of flair.
I mean, I kind of like the idea that he would be a fan of the past, and there was before today, we didn't know what era he was from. Jedi Temple Challenge could have taken place at any point in Star Wars history. So people were like, is this the High Republic? When is this? So the fact that he kind of lives between worlds, but he's just got great, even his undershirt has like some cool detail on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just a cool dude.
He's just a cool dude.
He's just the best.
We were talking about that purple lightsaber too. Like, he might have still had that and just lost it in the fight and had to pick up 2 random lightsabers, because I like to think that he still has it somewhere.
I do too. That's his lightsaber that he, like, Ahmed Best got to develop Keller and Beck, and in his mind he had a purple lightsaber, which was a reference to, or an homage to, Mace Windu. He also made the lightsaber from Galaxy's Edge. Like, he wanted those designs so that people could remake it. I don't believe that's the lightsaber he was holding today. So in my mind, purple lightsaber was just knocked out of his hand at some point, and he just picked up another one, and then he picked up another one, and he just went ham.
Yeah. I am so sorry I didn't see this one before our guests left. From Madman's Knowledge, didn't cry when Luke showed up, did cry when Ahmed did, and I couldn't stop. Also, hi, Nick and Adam. I will tell them that you said hi. But yes, I didn't cry either when Luke showed up. I was just kind of like, okay, it's Luke. But I did get really excited when R2 showed up just because I wasn't expecting him to roll in. And that just kind of took me by surprise. But I did get a little teary-eyed for Ahmed. But that's because Luke has had a million times over the spotlight.
Yeah. I had one tear leak out today, which is pretty big for me.
That's true.
I'm not the most emotional reactor, but today, just like all of those layers of emotions for Keller and Beck and Ahmed Best, and that it works for the story and the way they built to it. Yeah, I know that I really liked an episode when I go back and I watch our own reactions that Molly edits every week, and I'm like, I want to watch us reacting to that.
Yeah. Oh man. Yes, please.
Oh yeah, he is now like Cobb Vanth level, Big Starklighter level. If you make a Black Series action figure, whatever, I'll pre-order it. I'm on board.
Sorry for the audio listeners. Lewis Sutcliffe 3D in chat said I need a Keller and Funko, and I am very much a fan of that idea.
Same. Give me the Gentle Giant, whatever you have for me, I'll take it.
Give me all of it.
Stuart J, thank you for the next one. That shot of Bo chasing the creature right before the title card was beautiful. Totally agree. I loved it too.
Was that the sunset one?
Yes. I was gonna pull it up
just
so
like
we can look at it.
The silhouette, of the gauntlet. So good.
It reminds me of The Force Awakens, that shot of the TIE fighters coming in.
Yeah.
That's Carl Weathers. I'm so glad again that he got to do something that he wasn't in. I just assumed this would be a pirate episode because he was directing it, but that they just let him,
or that he'd be in it.
Yeah. That I love that he got to do one that he wasn't a part of otherwise.
Yeah. Another one from Madman's Knowledge. Hold on, I just realized. Does Kelleran know the Naboo people through Jar Jar? Are they best buds? Please, I am unwell. I am also unwell at the thought of them being best buds. Like we said earlier in the stream, that would just put us through a time portal. Some kind of butterfly effect would happen. I don't know, but it would be amazing.
Time-space continuum breaks apart. It's too much greatness on screen. If Ahmed Best is on screen twice, I don't know if we can handle it. If
he gets to high-five himself on a Star Wars show, I'm done. I don't need to see any more Star Wars.
That's it. Star Wars has peaked.
No,
it's all downhill.
I'm too gritty for that.
I think you set the bar pretty high, that they have to high five on top of just meeting. I think you're safe. Yeah.
I don't know that Gungans high five, so it probably wouldn't be that.
I think they'd be excited about it. Mark White, thank you for the next super chat. It sure seems like Grogu is going to be Mandalore. Funny thinking about him looking at the First Order and saying, folks, we're going to sit this one out. Well, we don't know.
I hope he's still alive.
Actually, you can see some Mandalorian gauntlet fighters at the Battle of Exegol.
Oh yeah, that's right. But sometimes I feel like they just threw every ship design in that scene just to do it.
They absolutely did that.
So, but now fans can speculate and be like, well, hold on.
Like, I don't want to get super started on all that, but the fact that they modeled the N1 and all of the Resistance starfighters and didn't focus on a single one for a single second bugs me to no end. But you can see them. You can see gauntlet fighters there. So
Grogu is in one of them in full armor with the dark saber, like tally ho.
Grogu's like surfing on the outside of one
Yeah,
with the dark saber.
that's amazing.
Oh, Molly, I'll let you read the next one from Stuart J.
Thank you, Stuart J, for the next super chat. Grogu was so emotive during the armor forging. It's great what they can do with him now. You know what? They made him look so sad, and then somehow they made him look more sad in that little like in those two little shots. And I was just like, this hurts. This hurts more than seeing Order 66 over and over and over again. Just to see his little sad face.
His little sad face and his little sad teeth. Like, it was real rough. Look at those little sad teeth.
His little teeth.
What they did with his eyebrows, I was like, I didn't know what they were building to. It didn't dawn on me that they were gonna do. This is what makes you cry. It didn't dawn on me that they were gonna do a flashback like they did with Din. It makes complete sense in hindsight, but I was like, why is he so sad? And now I know.
The armorer is just all about pulling the trauma out of people, which makes sense for a cult leader.
Yeah, that's true.
She's trying to drive that trauma bus.
Yeah, you're pushing me back in the anti-armor direction again. Real quick, I just wanted to bring up Mark White said, I just got owned by Alex. Didn't realize Mandalorians were there. Well, like I said,
you wouldn't because you'd have to.
You have to be a crazy person, and you have to go frame by frame, like I did, to find all the ships. So,
and even
like,
then, there's some that are just too blurry to even tell what they are. There's probably a potato in there. Or a piece of gum.
Right. Yeah. Aiden Falds, thank you for the next super chat. As I was watching Bad Batch, I thought there was no way Mando could have the better episode for me. I love a fan who watches Bad Batch first.
Yeah. Same.
I love that. But Ahmed Best did it. As someone who struggles with depression, I thought it was inspiring to see Best back as a badass. Me too. Yep.
This is not only cool getting to see his character that he got to design and build for that show. Just, I mean, anyone who recognizes him knows what he's been through at this point. If they don't recognize him, they just think, look at this angel come to save Grogu, you know? Like, it really doesn't matter if you know who he is or not.
Yeah,
but if
he's
you know
just
who
a
he
Jedi.
Is, it makes it so much better, more satisfying.
Yeah. I do, like, I look forward to talking to some of my reg friends, to quote Bad Batch. Like, my friends who like Star Wars definitely didn't watch Jedi Temple Challenge. Definitely don't know that name. I want to see how they reacted to that, because it does feel very like, this is for you, really invested fans. But it just made my heart sing today.
I hope he somehow gets to go to Celebration London. Like, I hope he's a surprise guest or something.
I would love it if they were saving that. Just they didn't want to announce it because they didn't want people to even have a whiff of this happening.
Hi, Sean.
Sean, I am like, some people didn't watch Jedi Temple Challenge.
Sean says, you're saying there are people who didn't watch Jedi Temple Challenge? I believe so, but now
crazy people.
Now I think those views are gonna go up a little bit.
I think it's hilarious that people might actually like fall in love with Jedi Temple Challenge because of the Mandalorian. Also, just shout out to the apparel, because your hoodie, we both have the hoodie. This is a Jedi Temple Challenge shirt. The most comfortable clothes. Like, I will wear that hoodie. That's why Molly was wearing it today, just by chance, because it's the most comfortable hoodie we own.
Shout out to Mickey, who works for the Star Wars live show, because he sent us these.
Yeah, Mickey Capaferri, Scott Bromley, they were like the creators and showrunners of Jedi Temple Challenge. It's on the Star Wars Kids YouTube channel if you haven't seen it. It's just a silly, fun game show. But for Halloween 2020, Molly and I dressed up as contestants, maybe in a bid to try to get invited on to season 2, which never happened. But
We are too old.
they might have done it.
We
They
were
might
just
have done
having we were just having fun.
We were just having fun. But if they invited us, I wouldn't have said no.
Well, they gave us
Yeah, they sent us the hoodies
clothes.
and the shirt. Scott C says, "Show us the pics." I do not have those handy. It's in.
Oh,
If you look at the Q&A from 2020,
October.
October 31st or around there, like it was our Halloween Q&A. That's when we did it. Actually, I think it was October 31st, because that's why we were like, we have to do Halloween costumes.
Here, if you read this, I'll look and see if I can find them on my phone.
Okay. From Mark Visa, thank you for the next one. Do you think the armor has been to Mandalore and knows the mythosaur is there? She fluffed off Bo, and it felt like she was up to no good. Maybe.
She's like, oh yeah, that mythosaur, he's no good.
That's the thing about all these characters and helmets, is that it's hard to tell their true intentions, and it's easy to imprint your own thoughts onto them. But I was surprised that the armor was just like, yeah, you'll see a lot of things if you walk the way of the Mandalore. And I was like, since when have you said that? That seems strange. I could see her having her own ideas.
Alex, you had your mustache.
Yeah, that was right before Squadrons.
Yeah. So like you never would have made it on that show.
Oh. Oops.
Maybe they're on your phone. I don't see them.
Did we take pictures? I can look if you want to read the next one.
Oh, we almost certainly did.
We
wouldn't
took
have-
video, but
Oh. Yeah, I don't remember. I'll keep reading.
I'll look.
David Canyo, thank you so much for the next super chat. I managed to get a lucky VIP badge for London. Will be my first celebration ever. So excited to see you guys and everything else there. Congrats.
We are excited to see everyone too. It is
Yeah.
coming up. Oh God. It's a week from Friday is when we are heading out. So
It's too
soon.
real. It's too real. I've been thinking this whole time since we bought the tickets, like, oh yeah, we're going to London. And I still feel like, yeah, we're going to London someday. And I'm like, oh man, that's coming up soon. But yes, so excited for you, David. It's going to be so fun. So fun. We've never been to London, so that's just a whole other level of excitement. But yeah.
Yeah. I also don't have pictures on my phone.
Yeah, I think we just had them for the Q&A, I guess.
At some point we can try to find them, but if worse comes to worse, you can just look at our Halloween 2020 Q&A. While we're talking about celebration and meeting people, I'll throw out a reminder that we have a panel on Saturday. Oops.
Oh, is that new?
Yeah, Brian made it for us.
Yay! Thanks, Brian.
Our panel is on Saturday, April 8th at 3:30 p.m. We will be joined by our good friends Ken and Joseph from Force Center Podcast. And I should do that too. We will be talking about all of the Star Wars news. So the Lucasfilm studio showcase will happen on Friday. The Ahsoka panel will happen Saturday morning. And then we will be there to discuss both of those panels. And I think the High Republic panel happens right before that as well. So we should have a decent amount of news to talk about.
That High Republic meetup being at 3:00 is still salty for me, but it's fine. They didn't know.
We can be there right at 3. We'll be like, hey, and then we'll leave.
Yeah.
We'll
Hey,
invite
there's-
them all to the panel.
Sure. There's this one thing that I really want to show everyone there, and then okay, bye.
Right.
Which is a
That'll
secret.
work. That'll work.
Top secret.
Chris L has the next super chat, and it's a Bad Batch super chat. So slight spoilers if you haven't seen that yet, but they're not big spoilers. Just says the Chaos Cavity is back. It is, and I believe I haven't rewatched our reaction to this, and I think we did actually watch this one a few weeks ago, but I yelled when that dude did it again. Like, now this has just become an annoyance. In season 2, when it happened, I was like, oh, that's an interesting take on the cyanide tooth or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then the clone trooper did it in episode 7, 8, whatever, of the Bad Batch, and I was like, oh, it's that thing from the Mandalorian. And then this guy did it today, and I was just mad.
Yeah, I was editing the reaction this morning, and you did the biggest eye roll, which you're really good at doing. This again. But I like that inclusion into this particular era of Star Wars because it shows how desperate and how loyal some of these people are to the Empire, which is just gross.
Griff, I'm sorry. Asks, what is the Chaos Cavity? I feel like I'm losing my
Sorry.
marbles.
It's the cyanide tooth. If you're not watching Bad Batch, you might not know, but it's happened a couple of different times. It happened in Mando last season.
Season 2, yeah.
Just there's a tooth
I was going to pull up
that-
a picture of it just so
that someone
people-
just bites down really hard on, and then it just kills
Oh, that's a
them.
grim picture. I apologize for bringing that up. That was gross.
Ew.
But yeah, we were talking about it in episode 7 or 8 when that happened, and then the chat did a great job of throwing out potential names like the Murder Molar. I think Chaos Cavity is what's stuck, and that's your fault. I think Murder
I
Molar
said
is
Chaos
funnier.
Cavity was my drag name,
Yeah.
and it still is.
Mm-hmm. But my preference is for Murder Molar. I think that's funny. Chaos Cavity is just what you latched onto.
For some reason, Murder Molar sounds like a character on a kids show, like a really dark kids show. But yeah, anyways.
I like this. I roll as my rebel call sign. Okay, yeah, I like that.
I think that checks out.
That's pretty funny. I'm the Stein. Thank you for the next super chat. It was great seeing Ahmed again, and I hope they do more with the character. I'm sure we won't see where they went until next season, but where do you think they went? Maybe this could be a Saturday morning cartoon.
Ooh. So I love the theory of them going to Naboo and hanging out with the Gungans, but I also love the theory of it being Sabe because she's done so much in the comics and the books that I feel like it would also be really rewarding to fans to see her come back. And you're right, Keira Knightley hasn't really aged much.
Sabe would be wild if they did that. I like that. I hope they go to Mars so they can hang out with the biker mice from Mars, who, by the way, I saw I think yesterday, they're getting new action figures. The biker mice from Mars are coming back.
Who?
Never mind. You're right. We shouldn't talk about this right now. We don't need to go down the Saturday morning cartoons.
Not yet. We're
Rabbit
not
hole.
Even 2 hours in.
Again.
We've got a while till we start getting to the weird stuff.
You're right. Lindsay Brown, thank you for the next super chat. To answer Madman's Knowledge's question, yes, Kelleran and Jar Jar are best buds. Ahmed best buds. Well done. I like that.
I've seen a lot of best puns.
I like that Ahmed Best has his own group of characters that we can just call the best buds. We got
Aw.
Jar Jar, Kelleran Beck, and Ahmed Beck.
Yes.
There's
I'm
three.
curious about if I just want a story about Ahmed and Kelleran Beck. And like you said, that they were siblings, and like one of them was
Oh, yeah,
the
Once-
sibling that the parents were slightly more proud of. And
Can you imagine if, I mean, I assume they're twin brothers because they look identical. Weird, isn't that? But the idea that one of them became a Jedi Master who devoted his life to teaching children, and the other one is a con man in the Outlander Club. So his parents must be all over him all the time. Just like, why can't you be more like Kelleran? He's
Aw.
a teacher. He's a Jedi. What are you doing night after night at the Outlander Club? Seems like a lot to live up to.
That's even more fun for Ahmed Best to be able to play two sides of the coin. Assuming they're twins.
That's another option that we have, that we keep saying, oh, maybe he'll share a scene with Jar Jar. Maybe he'll share a scene with Ahmed. That'd be awesome.
Two Ahmed Bests on my TV screen? Yes.
It's too much.
Not too much. Julia McC, thank you so much for the super chat. Call that a super chat.
Another thing we don't need to fall down the rabbit hole of, but I got new shoes, everybody. I got new shoes for Star Wars Celebration, even though my other shoes weren't that bad. They're not in here.
We
I'm
did
sorry.
it, Joe. We did it.
I got some
Cue
brand new shoes for Celebration.
the memes. We did it. And if you'll be at Celebration, you might even get to see him in person. Who knows?
We'll see.
Sorry if our internet's being poopy right now. It's our little
It
Wi-Fi
seems like it's
thing
coming
is
and going.
going in and out.
I think
But-
it's more affecting us than the stream, I hope.
Oh, okay.
Ulrika Schulman, thank you for the next super chat. Loved this episode. Finally decided to become a patron. Thank you so much. And I can't sleep, so I decided to hang with you. Can't wait to see you at Celebration. First time going. Hey, another one. We're so
one.
excited to hang out at Celebration too. Oh, and the whole reason I brought up the panel is because I was going to say we'll do a meetup after the panel. Somewhere. I got to find out where exactly that panel is, but then we'll find a spot nearby where we can all just hang out that's not in the way.
Yeah. Might have to go outside, but it depends on the weather, I guess. But thank you so much for being a patron. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you so much.
Jane Dalton has the next one here. Do y'all think Kelleran Beck's contact on Naboo could have been Jar Jar? Oh, this was from a while ago. He seems like the only known high-ranking enough character who might have done it, or is it a brand new character? So we've already talked about this a bit, but it's possible that they bring Jar Jar back. I mean, they might as well.
I think Sabe is my current my current favorite theory that I don't think will happen, but
yeah, it just feels like another fan theory that a lot of people are going to speculate on, and it'll be someone completely unknown.
Or someone that just we forgot about, that slipped our minds. It could be Queen Apailana. I like the idea of it being Jar Jar, but if we did get a scene of him and Kelleran Beck on screen, like that feels like, okay, we've taken a good thing and we maybe pushed it a little too far into the fan service area. But it's all about execution. Because I think that if someone had told me that Kelleran Beck is who saved Grogu, I probably would have been confused. But the execution was fantastic.
Yeah. Here's the thing. As much as fans of Ahmed Best and fans of the prequels and fans of Jar Jar would love to see Gungan or Jar Jar on screen again, I think Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are smarter than to bring Jar Jar into this at this moment in time.
I think Favreau would need some convincing because he straight up said in 2019 that he wasn't too hot on the prequels, but Dave is like making him come around. So maybe it's been 4 years. Maybe he is at that point.
Yeah, I shouldn't say smarter because I don't necessarily think that's the smarter way to go. I think that's what they might think.
I could see some pushback from Favreau, but maybe it's not. It's the opposite now.
Yeah, it's who knows. Anything can happen. Tin Man, thanks so much for the next super chat. From a certain point of view, Jar Jar saved Grogu. Yeah, I like that.
In 22 years, when we get From a Certain Point of View Revenge of the Sith, we're going to get a Kelleran Beck story. A written story.
That's not going to be 22 years from now.
Yeah, if they do those books, I don't think they're going to wait until the 40th anniversaries.
Something that I was going to bring up, and I'll try to go quick with this because I know we're behind, but something I was going to bring up during the stream. Do you think going forward, every new actor / actress in Star Wars thinks, well, people are just going to hate me until 20 years from now, and then they'll love me?
Maybe, which is a sad thought. Like that's what I was talking about when people were saying, oh, it's redemption for Ahmed. It's like, no. This is redemption for the Star Wars fandom. Let's be better this time and in the future. And you're allowed to dislike characters, but just don't treat the people who play that, like, just be respectful. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
And that would be really nice if people could step into Star Wars rules without that fear. And I do think that probably is a fear that some people have. Like, how can you not have that fear after Jar Jar Binks and Rose Tico, who just both totally undeserved and people being assholes because they can.
And John Boyega.
And John Boyega, yeah.
And a lot of other characters.
Yeah, John Boyega before the movie even came out.
Daisy Ridley.
Yeah.
I mean, she was the main character and she got a ton of hate from all the misogynist jerks out there who's like,
you're right.
Oh,
like
girl.
At this point, it's just a threat to anyone of just, hey, you're going to be in the new Star Wars. And that means that anyone that's not 12 is going to be terrible to you. Like, do they have to have a sit down and a talk to any new actor? Come on.
I think you just got to be ready for it when you join a big fandom like this.
Yeah.
I'm sure it happens on the Marvel side too, but like we don't see the Marvel fandom much. So like any big fan base.
I don't think this is it is a Star Wars problem, but it's just a fandom problem in general.
Yep. All right. Dragonus Prime, thanks for the next super chat. It's you, dude. I pointed at the screen out of sheer joy at least 10 times today. This may have been my favorite episode in the whole series so far. Yeah. This episode brought so many people joy that like any questions or qualms I had about it are like so far in the back of my mind. Like I have plenty of criticisms of the Mandalorians and what they do, but like I think that's meant to happen. I think you're supposed to be like, oh, why do they eat like this? This is so dumb. Like it's supposed to be frustrating.
Yeah. And it's weird that I think that if I were to take the time to be more like a critic and break down the story, I think there was plenty to talk about, plenty I enjoyed talking about today. I don't think this is the best Star Wars story that's ever been told, but man, it might be the Star Wars story that brought me the most joy. It's up there of just all those layers of Ahmed Best. And I don't think that that's a problem. I think sometimes people will be like, oh, but you only like it because of the Ahmed Best stuff. And I'm like, so I don't need to explain why I like something to you. Like, it brought me joy, and that's what Star Wars is supposed to do. And
Yeah.
I don't need it, you coming in and being like, oh, but the story was shut up. Don't care.
I do understand where some people are coming from, saying, you know, I don't know where this is going. What is this season about? What is this show about anymore? And it, you know, Filoni and Favreau keep saying it's about what it is to be a Mandalorian, but it's so much more than that. So I do get the criticism of like, where are we headed here? What's the end game? And are we just kind of aimlessly telling stories now about any old character? It seems like a lot of Bo-Katan related stuff now, but and I get those criticisms, but I don't know. It just doesn't bother me that I don't know where it's going.
I don't mind people who have criticisms. I mind when they tell me that I should not be this happy.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, no one should do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, is when someone is just like, oh, well, what about this and this? And it's like, why are you trying to step on my joy? Like,
no
today,
one should yuck anyone's yum.
Yeah. Like, yeah, at the end of the season, I'll do a season review and I'll talk about how each episode worked together and whatever. But like today, this episode just landed. And no one can yuck my yums.
Don't yuck our yums. It just hit us in the right spot, you know, like
we were so good.
We were around to see and hear all of that prequel hate, and getting to see all the love now feels good.
Yeah. And I wanted to bring up these chats just to build off of the other actors who have struggled as part of Star Wars, of Jake Lloyd and Moses Ingram. And it's upsetting that there are so many that we forget them. And it's like, oh, yep, too many people have suffered under the Star Wars fandom, and they all just need to chill out.
And it's like, it took that many people to finally now, you know, Moses Ingram's all the hate that she got for Obi-Wan. It took all of that for like Lucasfilm to allow some pushback.
Yeah.
And that just feels like, I don't know, that's a really messy situation and subject when you're dealing with social media. Do you have these big companies push back? Do you not? Like, I would love to see them push back against the more toxic fans a lot more. But I understand from a business point of view, like, they're not going to get involved in every little fight on the internet.
Yeah, every little thing, no. But I mean, they were right to do what they did for Moses. And I think that they know they should have stepped up for John Boyega.
Yeah.
And just keep going backwards.
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just not acceptable, period, anymore. And they should know that. And hopefully they, you know, keep doing stuff about it going forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's just embarrassing at this point. If you're a toxic fan on the internet, just go home. Unplug from the internet and go home.
Agreed. Touch some grass, whatever the kids are saying.
Touch some grass. All right, now time for my potty break, because I am on a roll.
Well, I will read the next super chat here from Ulrika Schulman again. Thank you so much. Got High Republic vibes from Kelleran Beck's outfit. I loved that. I cheered loudly when he showed up. I am trying to find, there it is, the chat itself. Yeah, I agree. And I just loved all of he's got some flair on his like outer robe. He's got some flair on his undershirt. I just thought he looked great. I do wish he got to use the purple lightsaber as well, just to really continue to help him stand out. But I also think that probably could have caused unnecessary confusion, because I think people would have been like, I thought Mace Windu was the only Windu was the only one. And then we would have been like, no, lots of people have purple lightsabers, just not in the movies. So I think they probably thought it was easier to go with green and blue. But yeah, I loved his costume design. King George VI, thank you for the next super chat. Such a wholesome family feel with Din making his kid play with the other. Mummy Bo-Katan cheekily telling Grogu not to show off too much. And then Auntie Armorer babysat Grogu, told him stories, and knitted him a jumper. Yeah, I really do like the family dynamic that's happening, especially with Bo. I loved that little moment where she was putting on the darts, and she was like, take it easy on him. Because yeah, like the audience, Din, Bo-Katan, everyone who knows Grogu is like, oh, he can take this kid. But he had to be, I like that he had to be encouraged, comforted, I guess, by Din, because Grogu has spent so long hiding his abilities and thinking that it's not okay to be who I really am out in the open. And so Din had to like kneel down and be like, it's okay. Like, you are among family here. So yeah, it's interesting because I've had such mixed feelings about the Children of the Watch and the armor this whole time, but I think that I have to look at this episode and be like, they're showing them to not be that bad. I mean, I still view them as a cult, but even Paz, like, and Paz has gone back and forth this whole time as well, of being mean to Din the first time we met him, and then telling him this is the way and saluting him, and then challenging him for the dark saber, being kind of mean when they showed back up. Oh, is Molly paying the cheese tax for Hilo? I don't know. Molly just came into my office to feed Hilo cheese, and now here he is. Okay. But yeah, Paz Vizsla is a character that keeps going back and forth, and I don't know what to think of him either. But I like the family vibes that we're building.
I'm back. I realize some people won't know what the cheese tax is, but if you're on TikTok and you hear puppy songs sing the cheese tax song, we know that guy.
We're friends with puppy songs.
And yes, I did go get a single slice of cheese and some more wine.
Oh, is that for you?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was for Hilo.
I gave him a bite.
He doesn't need any more treats. He ate my sandwich today.
I wanted some cheese.
Well, Johnny C. Books and Comics has the next super chat. Thank you, Johnny. As Ice mentioned in Discord today, nothing funnier than Molly in the reaction video asking what the name of the show was while literally wearing a hoodie with the name of the show on it. I forgot about that.
I didn't think about that at all. I was just, like, this is just genuinely a very cozy sweatshirt.
It's the best hoodie.
And yeah, I didn't even put it.
I took the super chat down just so you could pull the logo up.
I didn't even put it together that I had this on this morning. And then people started tweeting me about it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so smart.
That's just will of the Force. I chose to wear this shirt. This is my Jedi Temple Challenge shirt, but I was like, well, I know what I'm wearing today. And then Ahmed Best. Yeah, Molly was still waking up. I mean, it is our default comfy hoodie. But Ahmed Best today put out an Instagram post of him working out in this shirt, looking great. So good for him.
I had that shirt too, but they sent it to me in a children's
like a child small,
which is fine. I did wear it for 1 or 2 streams, but then I washed it and I was like, nope.
Now it's a crop top.
It was already a crop top.
Oh. All right. It's my turn for a bathroom break.
You just
BRB.
took one.
No, that was a beer break, Molly. It's a different thing.
Fine. Let's see here. Where are we at? Cassia Pidgip. Oh, wait. Someone corrected us on how to say this name. And now I can't remember how. So if you're still in the chat, or if anyone is still in the chat that knows how to say this properly, let me know. In universe, I love that a Jedi known for working with young Jedi was the one the kids trusted to save one of the younglings from the temple. Yeah, it fits so well. I mean, Alex has been saying it all day that like the fact that Kelleran Beck was their choice for the person to save Grogu just makes sense, aside from, you know, how awesome Ahmed Best is and how we needed to see him on screen again. He was a teacher. He dedicated his life to helping and teaching younglings. Of course he would be the one to save Grogu. I don't know why we didn't think about it until now. But pipe? Is that how I should say it? Instead of Pidgip? Let me know. Trippy Dippy, thank you for the next one. I think it was a bit careless that Kelleran flew through that train tunnel, put a lot of civilians in danger, especially the gunship crashing into it. Well, that's true. But I mean, maybe he used the Force to sense that it was empty.
Are you Trippy Dippy? Are you telling me that you wouldn't do anything and everything and sacrifice anyone to save Grogu? That's not a very Jedi thing to do, but
yeah.
But I think Kelleran Beck took one look at that little face.
He's like, I gotta do it
at any cost.
Well, I was saying maybe he used the Force to see whether or not there were people down there, and maybe it was an empty train. I don't know.
Potential. Yeah,
also,
that's true. Like, I'm going to assume that the train was fine and the gunship was not. The LAAT wiped out. Train was just like, oh, what did we just run over?
Right. Also, this is pronounced pipe.
Good to know. I'm so sorry we've been completely butchering that for a long time.
Yeah. Now we know. The super chats just keep rolling in, and we are so thankful for you guys. Let's try to get through as many of these as we can. I think we are going to cut off the stream at a certain point tonight, just because we've had a very long day. But anything that we don't get to tonight, we will read on tomorrow's stream.
Also true, yeah. We will be streaming about the Bad Batch tomorrow, but it can also be an AMA. It can be Mando. It can be whatever, because we'll be building our Lego set. But William Crisp, thank you for the next one. I like to think Dave saw all the people saying Cobb Vanth is the deepest cut character they could bring in and went, bet. Seeing Beck was incredible. Totally agree. Loved it to death. Still riding high off of it. So
good. I'm so happy to see everyone else in chat just like equally excited.
I have. It's one of those days that I don't think it's happened since probably Luke Skywalker popped up, or probably then, where just a ton of people, like even more casual Star Wars fans, were just chiming in to be like, this was awesome. I haven't seen anything negative about it, and I love that. Justin Carter,
I muted my mic while I'm eating cheese.
Yeah, and then you unmuted it to talk with your mouth full. Real professional. Justin Carter,
yes, cavity.
Justin Carter, thank you for the next super chat. Gotta say that I love seeing the Mandos get active again. It warmed my heart to see that see that, as restricted as the watch can be, they still open up to Bo. Yeah, like I've said, this has changed my opinion on the Children of the Watch yet again. I feel like I'm just swinging back and forth, but like even this really zealous, fanatical cult is accepting of outsiders. I love that they don't bat an eye at Grogu. They're just like, yeah, we're really serious about our rules, but the little green baby, yeah, he can be one of us.
They're so serious about the idea of who can be a foundling that, yeah, they took in 3 baby dinosaur birds today.
Yeah. We'll see if they make them make them helmets, but I doubt it.
Probably not. There's a level of pride to, I guess, take it to ride a beast that is considered a foundling, I guess. Maybe that's like a workaround.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Jason Renfro has the next one. Grogu was saved by Adi Gallia. Anyone know about him?
I'm confused by this one because I mean, obviously that's a false statement, and also Adi Gallia is a woman.
Yeah, a lot of questions.
I
for
have
this.
questions, Jason. If you're still in chat,
Yeah, if you're still in chat, let us know
I'll keep an eye out for answers.
what you mean.
Chris Pacetto, thank you for the next super chat. I was under the impression that a foundling was adopted into the clan, but the armorer calls Ragnar a foundling, yet he's Paz's son. Are they all foundlings? I guess I'm kind of assuming that Ragnar is a foundling. He was called a foundling, but yes, he is also Paz's son. Maybe not biological, but he's his son the same way that Grogu is Din's son. Like he has taken on Ragnar as like, I will raise you, I will take care of you and protect you. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. I don't know, because I feel like since Mandalore was destroyed, anyone and everyone can be a foundling.
Yeah.
So they're playing that rule pretty loosely.
I mean, I think that we don't know the whole that, and part of my apprehension towards the Children of the Watch is the fact that they just like, I don't want to say kidnapped Din, but they flew him to safety away from certain death. They saved his life, but then did they give him a choice, or was he like, thank you for saving me, I want to be one of you? I do think that's the vibe, because we see young Din kind of looking around at all the Mandalorian warriors. I think he probably aspired to be one, but that's the question, is as long as these foundlings are like, I want to do this, but then at that age, do they know what they want? Again, we're getting into like religious stuff that
It's once Mandalore got destroyed and all of its people were split, that's when the hardcore, we keep calling them cult leaders, but like there's no other way to easily say it. The hardcore cult leaders are going to be picking and choosing who they're saving and taking them under their wings and treating and like saying they're a foundling and like, we're here to support you. You're welcome here with us. Where whoever you were with before just left you, like that's just cult stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like this too. Calm Like a Bomb says, I got the impression that foundling was a rank, not a description. Din mentioned moving on to apprentice. That's possible that foundling could just be like their word for youngling. Maybe. You have anything to say about that, Molly? Real quick, right now?
Cheese. Sorry, I'm eating cheese. No, yeah, I completely forgot that he mentioned that. That is a very good point. True. What is an apprentice? Who is he apprenticing?
Apprenticing?
Apprenticing. I guess the armorer.
or Din. I don't know.
Oh, Grogu was going to be an apprentice.
An apprentice, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He said he needs to train or fight or whatever if he hopes to move on to apprentice.
Okay. Interesting.
I think we just don't know the answer yet. In my head, Ragnar, just because we haven't seen him yet, I figured he was adopted. But that just seeing the way that Din so intensely loves Grogu and wants to protect him, that to me, that is just what the children of the Watch do. They're like, I've adopted Ragnar, but he is my son.
Yeah.
But the rank thing could also work. We'll probably find out over the course of the next 6 seasons.
True.
Joel Davis has the next super chat. Thank you, Joel. Bo and Din giving off massive mom and dad vibes. Also, I could totally see Din being a helicopter parent. They call it a jetpack parent in this covert, but yes. I thought Din did pretty well. He put Grogu out there, and then he kind of backed off.
I think he thinks he's being a good, supportive dad, but I still go back to the thought of, does Grogu want to fight? Does he want to learn how to use all these weapons and be a fighter? Like, is that what he wants? We don't really know because he can't talk to us. But he does seem to really be into the idea of being accepted in this group, and seems like he's trying to say, this is the way. He just can't quite get it out yet.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah.
I think you're right in that he might feel conflicted. And I think that this whole story could be like finding the middle ground between faith and dogma, as Dino Park Dan said. I like that. Yeah. Also, don't boo me, I'm right.
What?
About the helicopter parent thing.
Oh. What did we just say about toxic fans, Alex? And saying whether or not you're right for an opinion.
I'm right. I'm always right. Legacy Productions, thank you for the next super chat. Tales of the Jedi Season 2, Kelleran Beck.
Ooh.
Love it.
Any other little story we can get with him in it, I'm down for.
I think he's going to be in the show some more. I think the next time Grogu gets a set of armor, we're going to see a flashback.
A set of armor, another piece.
Piece, whatever.
Yeah. I hope to see him come back as well. Bakey, thank you for the next one. I teared up a bit when Ahmed Best appeared on screen. So wonderful. Yes, I think we both did a little bit. And I know a lot of other people have said that they did on social media. So it was just a beautiful moment all around. We've talked about it enough. But we're right there with you.
Couldn't agree more. Jesus or Jesus Fernandez, thank you for the super chat. My headcanon now is the younglings Anakin murdered were there because Kelleran said, oh no, wait here, be right back, and proceeded to escape with Grogu. Well, your headcanon is sad.
That would be real sad. I don't think he would do that because his mission is to like help kids. He's not going to let a bunch of other kids die for one kid.
Well, no. I don't think he was abandoning them. I think he was just trying to like, let's get all the kids in a safe spot. And
he failed.
Yeah. my hope / headcanon was that, okay, so those Jedi were like, Kelleran, get him to Kelleran. So I've been hopeful that like he has just been shuttling kids out. Like Grogu was the last in a line of like 30 kids that Kelleran was like, you get on that ship, you get on that ship, you get on this speeder. And like, I hope Kelleran saved a lot.
I have to imagine that he did.
Francisco Gios, thank you for the next super chat. He's back. All praise to Ahmed best. Agreed.
I think I said it in our reaction. The king is back, which we say a lot about a lot of characters, to be honest. But this one, I really meant it.
Mm.
The king is back.
I'm the Stein has the next two. Thank you. Are the Mandalorians basically the foster parents of the galaxy now? I mean, kinda.
It really feels like a cool club that you could just join anytime you wanted. But what if they start to get too many people interested in being a foundling? Like, are they going to be like, all right, we're going to cap it. We're not taking new members right now. It's like a doctor. We're not accepting new patients right now.
I actually don't think they would do that because it seems like they're one big thing. Like when they say this is the way and we all actually pump our fists, it's because they're protecting children. So I think that any child that needs protection, they are going to do that. That's my hope.
Yeah. Excuse me.
And I'm the Stein's second one says, I think the difference in how we feel about this is the way, speaking of, comes down to whether they say it because they have to versus a sincere commiseration. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a let's celebrate this moment. This is the way. Sometimes it's a ooh, that sucks for you. This is the way.
But this is the way.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. I have to leave the fire and go eat by myself, but this is the way.
Mm-hmm. We need the Debbie Downer sound.
Wah, wah.
Some of the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes complete sense.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Lindsay Brown, thanks so much for the next super chat. Just imagining a Mando birthday party. Everyone sings and leaves so the kid can blow out the candles.
And eat the cake alone.
Then they get their slice of cake and leave. Oh.
That's fantastic / terribly sad.
But this is the way.
Yeah, this is the way. Sorry, kid.
Says
Enjoy
the kid
your cake
sadly
alone.
eating his piece of cake alone out in the desert somewhere.
Star Orange 36, thank you for the next one. I can't tell anymore if Bo is actually joining the way. Why else would she share that she saw the Mythosaur and the previous eps be named the Convert? Yeah, I think that the previous two eps have... What was episode 2? The Mines of Mandalore, right. Okay. So episodes 3 and 4, I think, have both been double meanings. Episode 3, The Convert, was about Pershing and Bo-Katan. Episode 4, the Foundling, was about Grogu, also probably Ragnar, also Bo-Katan, I think. So, yeah, I think that she is being pulled into all of this.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, but like I was fully expecting her to just be like, ugh, I've had enough of you and you all, and then leave. But her home was blown up. Her super cool kingdom that she was the sole member of was blown up. And like all of the people that followed her previously left her because she didn't have the Darksaber, which is a huge bummer. So she doesn't have a home right now. She might as well stick around with them. I think part of her is into it. Part of her just doesn't know what to do yet. And she was looking for guidance with the armorer.
Yeah.
But didn't quite get it. She got a pat on the head instead.
Too late, Pink Milk. Too late.
Did you get another one of those strong beers?
No, but they're tall boys.
Was it the ones from Wild Heaven?
Yeah, are those strong?
I mean, they're 7%.
It's not as bad as the 9.5% I was drinking last week.
That's true. Maybe eat some cheese. I don't know. It helped me.
Legacy Productions, thank you for the next super chat. I still enjoyed this episode, but I feel like if we're going to do episodes like these, the season needs to be longer. We only have 4 episodes left, with one being Navarro, and don't know the season's goal. I mean, I feel like season 2 meandered quite a bit. We knew what the goal was, but still, Luke kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I don't feel like they super built up to Luke. They did the Tython Seeing Stone, but it's not like there were other hints that it would be Luke, other than the fact that he's kind of the only other option. So I don't know. I'm not worried about it because so far I'm just enjoying the hell out of the ride. And I think when we get to the end of the season, I might change my tune. But when we get to the end of the season, I think we'll be like, got it. I understand what the message was. Because if this story is about Din saying, like, no, to hell with the helmet rule, that's enough for me. Then the season is about Din breaking out of that programming. I could see if the season finale is the armorer trying to put a helmet on Grogu and Din being like, no, don't do it. Like, that's enough conflict for me.
You can't cover up that precious baby's face.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, the showrunners keep saying that the show is about what it is to be a Mandalorian, but like, how many side stories are we taking here? Because one thing I definitely don't want to see with the end of season 3 of Mando is the end of Book of Boba Fett. Just Bo-Katan conquers and rides the mythosaur, and they win a big fight.
Yeah,
it's got to be more than that.
Yeah, I don't think they're building towards that. Like, I don't think they're going to build towards Thrawn this season. I think this is going to be a more personal victory for Din this season, and I am fine with that.
I think we'll find out who it was that sent all those TIE bombers and interceptors to Bose. But I think it's got to tie in with Moff Gideon escaping and Dr. Pershing, and I just want to call her Katie O'Brien because that's who she is.
Elia Kane.
Yeah. It's got to tie into that stuff as well.
I think it will. Like, we know we're going to get more New Republic stuff. I don't know. I'm currently not worried about it because I've been enjoying the season so far.
Yeah. Garth McMurray, thank you so much for the next super chat. Ahmed Best was great as Kelleran Beck. What's the percentage chance you had for him being the one to rescue Grogu? If he's taking Grogu to Naboo, who do you think we'll see in the next flashback scene? I would say 0% chance that we thought this was going to be who it was.
Yep. Shout out to Lord Hosk in the chat. Predicted this. RM Network threw out the idea on Twitter. So people did make the guess, and kudos to you. I never in a million years would have guessed it was Kelleran Beck.
Yeah. But so Naboo.
Oh yeah. What do we see next? I think my hope is that I would love to see Kelleran be a part of the path. Like, if he started the path from Obi-Wan Kenobi, I think that'd be pretty cool.
It all comes down to the path.
Yeah.
I was talking about this the other day, that I want Seer to be involved with the path.
So I'm like, maybe the ship, it was a Naboo ship. It was from Naboo people. That genuinely could have just been like here you go. Here's a ship. Get out of here. Maybe they don't go to Naboo.
Yeah, just because it's a Naboo ship. I don't know. I love the Naboo ships, though. They're so shiny.
So shiny. Mark White, thank you for the next super chat. It's time to let old things die. Mandalore, the Darksaber, Children of the Watch, helmet obsession, the cultish motto, making children fight, let it all die. Oh, read this in the Adam Driver voice.
Oh,
It's
whoops.
time to let old things die. Mandalore, the dark saber. Is that pretty good?
Yeah. If I
Children
close
love-
my eyes.
Helmet obsession. The cultish
Mm.
motto.
No.
I lost it. I tried.
You had it there for a second.
I tried.
Yeah, making children fight was hard to watch, honestly. They just need to be kids.
Bakey has the next super chat. Thank you. Okay, hear me out. Jar Jar was on Coruscant during the Purge, and that was his personal shuttle to and from Naboo. Could be.
I mean, it was a senator shuttle, a Naboo senator shuttle.
It's
And
a popular theory for a reason.
that's who that was. He was a Naboo senator.
This is Barriss Offee all over again, though. I'm calling it. It's going to be someone else. If it's anyone.
That's true.
Thanura Ravindra has the next super chat. Thank you. I was initially thinking Barriss saved Grogu, speaking of. So where could Barriss be in canon? Chance of showing up in Ahsoka's show. I believe that's a rumor floating around now. But I feel like that's been a rumor in several different things, like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. We thought it might be Barriss in Star Wars Rebels. Like, I'll believe Barriss is in something when she's like shows herself and she announces herself as I'm Barriss Offee. And Dave Filoni finally wants to finish my story.
I think there's a chance she could show up in Ahsoka. It's gonna feel very fan servicey, but I mean, it sounds like he's been saving her story for something big. And I think Ahsoka getting her own live action TV show is something big. So if she shows up, I'm like, great, fun, cool, awesome.
Agreed.
I'm down.
Chances about I'll go 40%. I don't want to oversell it. I don't think it's a flip of a coin, but I think it's higher than like low.
It's higher than low.
It's higher than low.
Wow.
Obviously.
Wowie wow.
Wowie wow.
That was a good one.
I've been awake for so long.
Garth McMurray, thank you for the next super chat. I'll admit that I recognized Ahmed best, but I had no prior knowledge of Kelleran Beck. I saw his name in the closed captioning and looked up his info. That's great. I mean, I think you were among a lot of people who thought the same thing and was like, why are they calling him that name? And to find out that he not only existed prior to this, but he existed in a kids game show on YouTube is like, that's just an exciting fact tunnel to go down.
Yeah. I love the journey that people are going to go on if they want to be like, now, who is this? Let me watch this game show. I love that. Jane Dalton, thank you for the next super chat. Did y'all find the part of the creed, one does not speak unless one knows, disturbing? It feels like the implication is that once a child can speak, they're old enough to understand the creed. No way a kid that young understands.
A lot of parts of the creed I find disturbing.
Yeah, and it's a lot of, I think we're diving back into religion, but there are things that you can say that are nice on the surface that can be interpreted in a different way. I interpreted that as just like a shut up if you don't know what you're talking about. Like that's what Din was telling Ragnar. Because Ragnar saw Grogu and was like, I can destroy this child. And Din was like, one doesn't speak unless one knows. And Ragnar was like, I know I can take this kid. Obviously proven wrong. And even Paz Vizsla was like, in my mind, I think that was Paz Vizsla underestimating Grogu, seeing what he could do, and then being like, oh, well, glad I didn't say anything. I think it's just a way to say, like, don't jump to conclusions.
Yeah.
Don't open your mouth and make yourself sound stupid, Ragnar.
You just got here, dude. Don't act like you've ever seen one of these baby Yodas
yeah, right.
before. You don't know what he can do.
You've never seen an adult Yoda.
Yeah, I just had a random thought. What if Grogu is attracted to the idea of the creed because when spoken out loud, it sounds slightly similar to how Yoda speaks?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah. I like that.
He's like, oh, I slightly recognize the way that they're talking, and it sounds like someone I used to know.
Sure.
Probably not.
I'm the Stein. Thank you for another super chat. I keep thinking Bo is just trying to figure out her place in everything, so I don't think she's fully bought into everything, but she's also feeling lost given what she's seen, and the armor will totally take advantage of that. I think that's it. Oh, sorry. I was trying to star that.
I agree. Are you having trouble starring super chats?
Well, it moved up when I went to hit the star and I hit the chat instead. So now I have to read it over here because you won't pull it back up.
I put it back up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Bo is lost, and my hope for now, because I don't think that the cult is the cult. I don't think that the Children of the Watch is like 100% evil. I think they just are going too far in the dogmatic way, and they need to back off. And so my hope is that Bo can help them do that, but that the Children of the Watch can also help her regain some of her faith, because when we started the season with her, she was on her depression throne, and she needs a little pick me up. So it's the same thing. I think we're just going to try to find that balance between faith and dogma, and because I don't think faith is bad, but dogma can be, and that's where I see the Children of the Watch and the armor. So I don't know. I hope the armorer does not take advantage of Bo. I don't know that she would, because she never took advantage of Din.
Well,
She
Din's
seems
dumb.
she didn't have to, but I'm like, she could have taken advantage of Din. She could have taken the Darksaber from him, but she didn't. So I do think that there's.
But I think that was part of the plan.
Yeah, maybe
to have Din as like this apprentice for her.
Yeah.
And then Bo-Katan comes along, and she's got all this history, House Kryze, royalty on Mandalore. She's really feeling like there's more competition now, but she's still being very coy with her. When Bo-Katan brings up the mythosaur, she writes it off like immediately, like, oh, we see a lot of things when we walk the way. Like, I think she's scared and absolutely feels threatened. And Bo-Katan is kind of somewhere in between. She doesn't really know what she saw, what to think of it. Her home is gone, her friends are gone. Like, she's in a very weird place right now.
Yes. I love the armor for this reason, because she's got a helmet on. She's mysterious, and I don't know what her motivations are, and they could be literally anything. She is super fun to watch.
Yeah. I hope we get to see Emily Swallow's face.
I think we will eventually. That's, like I said, I want to see her and the rest of the covert feel comfortable taking their helmets off and saying this is the way for something else.
Yeah.
I see Shaq Fu with the next one. Thank you, Shaq. Says, conspiracy. Molly gets up extra early, watches new episodes while Alex sleeps. This is how she knew to wear her Jedi Temple's challenge sweater.
I wish I could say that were possible, but I was dead asleep this morning when you got up.
If that is what happened, you're an amazing actor. Because when I woke you up, you just went like, Meh! You just did not want to nope. You didn't want to do it.
That does sound like a sound I make in the morning.
Ah.
Meh.
Every morning. It's what wakes me up. It's beautiful.
Mm.
I'm so lucky.
Mike Hexit, thank you for the next one. What if Sabine shows up and causes issues with the Way? See, I thought Bo would cause issues with the Way, but like we've been talking about, she's a little lost in her own right. Do we think Sabine is going to show up to shake things up even more?
Now that we're halfway through the season, I mean, yeah, it's possible. I'm trying to remember how the second half of The Mandalorian went. Ahsoka, Boba Fett. Yeah, there's still room for some cameos. And I do think that they probably will try to feed into Ahsoka, the show.
Yeah.
So and she just makes sense to appear.
I agree. I don't know that Sabine is going to show up this early in the game in this show because we're just now getting all this added information about Bo-Katan. Like, people who didn't previously know who she was are just now getting to know her.
Yeah. I don't think
So-
that she's going to come up like specifically to mess with the Way.
Nah. But she could show up like at the very end.
I think she'll probably pop up still. I'm the Stein. This is a fun one. Thank you for the next super chat. Panaka lives and sent the ship to save Grogu. Yeah, he dead. He blew up.
Oh, I thought you said, yeah, he did.
No, he dead.
He did. Oh,
He did.
poor Panaka.
It would be fun though. I mean, that's one that I would never guess because I assumed he was dead. So that feels like a Filoni Favreau thing to do.
I don't think they're bringing him back.
I don't either. I think he died in
But he could have
Princess of Alderaan.
could have family. Well, we knew his family in the books, I guess, but a secret twin brother, maybe.
Doomslayer, thank you for the next one that just says, "This is the way."
This is the way.
Is that the Doomslayer or fake Doomslayer? I don't know anymore.
I don't know. The fake Doomslayer that showed up several times in chat is astounding to me. Whoever that is really dedicated to the cause.
I think this is fake Doomslayer. Hey, you know what? Shout out for spending 5 minutes to make a new account, be an asshole for 1 second, get blocked, and then you're gone again. Like,
Yeah, I mean, keep doing it. Keep it up.
right on. What a way to spend your time. I'm the Stein. Thank you for the next super chat. I think of Vizsla having a problem with a Mandalorian Jedi would be a bit too glaringly ironic.
Vizsla having problem with the Mandalorian.
I think we were talking about the fact that all the Mandalorians were accepting of Grogu and his use of the Force. And so, yeah, it's like Paz Vizsla doesn't have a lot of room to talk because Tar Vizsla was the first Mandalorian Jedi.
Sure. Also, now he owes a lot to Din, so he can't have beef with Grogu, period.
You know what? That's a really good point because, Molly, you brought up that Grogu probably has some conflicting feelings about training as a Jedi. But
yeah,
now,
if he was with Luke for so long, Luke was probably teaching him all about not using the Force to fight.
yeah, but now he's training as a Mandalorian, and it's these two different ways of life. So how did Tar Vizsla marry the two? Like, how are you a Jedi and also a Mandalorian at the same time? That could be something else that we continue exploring, and I think that's very interesting.
He made the Darksaber, and then he had a cool helmet. And he was like, I'm both.
But how can you be a Jedi and a warrior at the same time?
Gray Jedi.
Those don't exist. Don't start that. Let's not get into that.
Sorry. I have an answer for everything.
But I okay.
isn't
I
right.
kind of see what you're saying. Like gray Jedi, that term means nothing. But a Force user that isn't necessarily a Jedi that
Okay.
uses the light side, like
If we're playing by the rules, the title Mandalorian Jedi does not exist. They cancel each other out. You are either a Mandalorian or you are a Jedi.
well, that's the question, isn't it? Because Tar Vizsla exists. So is he the only Mandalorian Jedi? Did they try it once and they were like, never mind, this doesn't work? Or did he successfully figure it out?
He didn't stick around for long. I don't know.
We don't know.
Do we not know?
No. We just know that he was the first Mandalorian Jedi. He made the Darksaber, and then the Jedi kept it after his death.
How did he die?
We don't know.
So many questions.
I know. Thanks a lot, Filoni.
But okay, to wrap this up, I think the idea here is, yes, we are exploring what it is to be a Mandalorian and what it is to be a Jedi kind of simultaneously in this day and age
Yeah.
when there is no Jedi Order, there is no Mandalore.
Yeah.
What does it all mean? It doesn't have to be so strict. And I think that's going to be the end all be all message that, like, no, you don't have to wear your stupid helmet all the time. You don't have to eat alone. No, you can't use the Force for fun to get candy off other people's desk. You should be able to do it all.
You should be able to do it all.
As long as you have balance. Physically and mentally.
I will
gotta
be
be able to
interested to
stand
see
up.
if they keep that exploration going.
Dave McHugh, thank you so much for the next one. Love the show, but tired of the, quote, giant creatures plot device in the Mandoverse. Ravenek, Mudhorn, Rancor, Crate, giant alligator, ice spider, bird dinosaur, Harryhausen creature, etc. happens a lot. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
it
Star
does.
Wars. That's Star Wars.
It's like once a movie, it's like palatable. It does happen. It feels like once an episode almost. I get it.
I do too. I mean, you seemed upset when the giant dinosaur bird came in.
I was I was more upset because it came out of nowhere and I was like, hold on, you have turtle dinosaurs and flying dinosaurs. I wasn't mad at its existence. I was more mad at the Mandalorians for being like, why are you staying here? But that's
Right.
probably the point because they want life to be a struggle and difficult, and this is the way. Bleh.
It's so dumb that they would know that these creatures exist, know that this has happened before, and they still train out there, basically just tempting fate.
Yep.
But this is the way, I guess. I'm going to just keep adding this, I guess, after every time I say this is the way.
Yeah. Caleb Levermore Rich, thank you for the next super chat. Calling it now, Grogu will inherit the Darksaber, bringing the legacy of Tar Vizsla full circle by being both Mandalorian and Jedi.
Well,
I think that's a possibility for sure.
My little figure doesn't have the Darksaber yet, but he's got the outfit. We've talked about the potential of this quite a bit, and I don't know that he will inherit the Darksaber, but I think he will play a pivotal role in helping both the Mandalorians and the Jedi understand each other a little bit better and maybe not live so strictly by their silly rules, because they always get you in trouble.
Liam Logston, thank you for the next one. Thoughts on Palpatine being the one to set up the getaway for Grogu? Not many Jedi knew he was also a Sith. I admit it may fall apart because how would he know about Grogu, and why are clones shooting at him? I reject that idea because it's too sad. That Kelleran Beck may have just fallen into a trap right away.
I think Palpatine is pretty busy at this point in time. He was a smart man with a lot of plans, but this was his big moment. I don't know that he's got stuff set up for Grogu.
Maybe he knew about him, but I think that at this point it was just like kill. Like that's too much of a risk. Obviously, like clones were shooting at him as the elevator doors were closing. If he super wanted Grogu, then he would have found a way to protect Grogu.
He would have put him on the do not kill list.
Yeah, he would have put him in the Dropbox.
Just like Anakin
the Google Sheet, yeah.
was, and then whoever they thought would make a good Inquisitor, they were on the do not kill list.
Yep. He had his little Google Sheet. And Grogu was not on that sheet. Clones were shooting at him. Madison Badger, thank you for the next one. Did Grogu's circular armor have electrical components on the inside layer? What do you suppose they do? Molly?
I was noticing that too, because I was like, are they just making him a tiny shield? And then she was using her tools, and we saw those like little tiny parts. They looked like wires, and there were sparks flying. I don't know what she was doing, but it looked a lot more complicated than just a piece of Beskar. So I think there's more to that little thing than we know. Same with Grogu.
True. I mean, we saw that there were electrical components to the chest piece that Din has too. Don't know what they do. I have no clue.
They stick to his chest. I don't know.
It's probably something Star Wars-y. Like, he talks about how his armor has lost its integrity. Maybe it's like they have I forget what it's called in ships, but there are like gravitational fixers. That's not it, but they account
Magnets?
for. No, am I thinking of alluvial dampeners? It's like
That's
it's like
a Star Wars thing.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of that. Like they help human bodies deal with the acceleration. So maybe if something hits
Inertial
the armor,
dampener?
maybe.
That's what MC Lego Boy said.
Yeah, sure. So
Or
maybe
ablative armor?
I
These
don't
are
know.
words that I do not know.
Like maybe the electrical components help spread out.
Structural integrity.
Like if you get hit by a mudhorn, it doesn't kill you.
Mm.
I don't know.
Shock absorbers.
Yeah, basically. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's more to it, and we'll figure it out the next time we see him.
Casey has the next super chat, and I like it. Has Pippin forgiven you for the disturbance when you saw Ahmed? We're on good terms. He stabbed me as he was getting out of my lap, so I think it all evened out. But when Ahmed Best appeared on screen, Pippin was in my lap, and I started slapping my leg out of excitement, and Pippin did not like that, and he got up, stabbed me, and then walked away.
He didn't walk away. He ran away.
Sure. That's part of the stabbing. Zargo Dan, thank you for the next one. Wait, it's Star Wars. The armorer is someone we know. The Duchess Satine herself. Sorry if I nailed the pick. I think she is super dead.
Hold on. I missed that one in your starred ones. I think you missed one.
I may have missed one. I'm sorry.
Wow. What did I say?
I tried. Oh, I missed 1 out of 60.
Well, I bet it's a mess from here on out. Let me scroll up.
But
Sargo
no,
Dan, that was 7.
I don't think it is the armor. It was at 724, if that helps.
I'm going. Gotta scroll way up.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm gonna read Ethan's out. Thank you, Ethan. Hey, been watching y'all for a long time. Goats of Star Wars.
I found it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sargo Dan, for the super chat. Is the armor someone we know? I don't think so.
I'm leaning towards no, and it's definitely not Duchess Satine.
Nope.
She did.
She did. All right, where are we at now?
Ethan Recow, thank you for the next super chat. Hey, been watching y'all for a long time. Goats of Star Wars YouTube, in my opinion. What kind of role do you think Boba Fett will play in this season thematically, given all the different perspectives on Mando culture?
Did you skip Eric Bruno's super chats?
Maybe. I'll look in a second. But what do we think of Boba Fett's role? Well, we'll see if he appears at all.
I don't think Boba Fett cares about the other Mandalorians.
I don't either.
mean, he might, but like, I'd be really curious to see what he thinks of all the Children of the Watch behavior.
I don't think he would give a crap. Like, he didn't care about anything that Din said in episode 6 of season 2. He was like, I just follow my own code. Did you take the creed? He's like, I don't care. I just want my armor. Like, but I do think that his story is important for the rest of Mando, the show, because he is a perspective on what it is to be a Mandalorian. I think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he's going to be in this season, but I would like to see him continue to play a role in the future.
Agreed. Mr. Dr. Professor
Puce?
Puce.
They have the next 2.
Okay, they have the next 2 super chats. Thank you so much. I hoped from the moment Kuil mentioned the mythosaur that we'd be seeing a living one. To be vindicated feels good. It is very exciting. I do wonder how they're going to get it off-world, though. People mentioned the pirate frigate for the N1, but maybe it can also hold the mythosaur. Yeah, we don't really know how big it is. It looks real big.
It looks pretty big. I don't know that they're going to get it off-world, or if they should try. This feels like a Zillow Beast situation waiting to happen, of just, oh, we brought it to our new dinosaur-infested world, and now it's running amok. And it's the new apex predator. And now we've ruined this ecosystem.
Yeah. Plus, feels like the mythosaur might want to stay on its own planet if it's livable. He's like, why do I have to leave? Why don't you guys just come fix the planet? Because it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know that it's going off of Mandalore.
Probably is like, I don't want to. Not today.
Spineless Oaf has the next one. Thank you. Were Grogu and Anakin born around the same time? Grogu is 50 in season 1. Then he's 23 in Revenge of the Sith. Isn't that approximately Anakin's age? Coincidence? I think it is a coincidence.
Are we saying that he's another chosen one?
People have thrown around that idea that he could, like, they could be a dyad or something, and I don't think so. I genuinely do think it's a coincidence. I think Favreau wrote a large number down for episode 1, saying like your target is 50 years old. So we would all go, oh, it's an old man. And then
That could be anyone. That could be Bo-Katan. It could be a baby.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like that was the point, that no one would think it was a baby. And
Yeah.
then it was. And we went, oh my God, it's the best thing ever. So
I
I'm
mean-
leaning towards coincidence right now.
Din could have befriended a slightly older man. We don't know. And become very attached. But yeah, I think it's coincidence.
Tin Man has the next one. Thank you. What if Jar Jar starts the path from the Kenobi show? I think he and Keller and Beck could do that together, and it would be great.
And Seer.
And Seer.
I
Get
don't know
the
why I'm
whole gang together.
advocating
I'm fine with that.
for that so hard.
I think it makes sense.
But yeah, it would be nice to tie some of these characters together in that they're all doing something as good as creating something like the path.
I'm
Oh.
going to say we're going to try to pick up the pace here because we still have a lot to get through. And
We're on this one first,
Yeah.
I think. Okay.
yeah, I was just going to say we're going to try to pick up the pace because I am running out of steam.
Yeah, we're gonna go till 9:30. If we have anything left after that, we'll answer them on tomorrow's stream.
Yep. Galen Good, thank you for the next one. Did it cross your mind that Bo-Katan would get a mudhorn on her pauldron? No, I was just kind of bummed that she lost one of her pauldrons, but I do like that she went mythosaur.
I mean, I kind of had the theory that she would, but I don't see why she would have gotten a mudhorn. That I'm not buying into the idea that she wants to be the mommy to the daddy and the baby in
Right.
this story. That's not her place. But Mythosaur makes sense because she's like, that's my goal now. I've seen it. I believe it. We'll see if I can tame it.
Yeah, mythosaur makes more sense to me than mudhorn.
Sure.
Star Wars fan 3131, thank you. Does anyone in Star Wars use president as political title? We've seen governors, prime ministers, and other titles, but I can't recall if anyone's ever been called a president. I'll just Wikipedia it right now.
I feel like using the term president would be too real, like too close to home. Governor is one of those that like that term has showed up in a lot of stories that are fantasy based. So
Well, you would be wrong.
okay.
It's happened. Rarely, but it's happened. Light of the Jedi, Mission to Disaster, Lost Stars. Oh, a couple of references
Really?
in Andor. Yeah.
The president of the Daughters of Ferrix, was that one?
Yep. Marva Karasi Andor served as the president of the Daughters of Ferrix.
I just remembered that.
But Jamie Brayson was the president of the planet Begamor. So
Ooh, Begamor?
couple of different presidents out there.
That's a cool planet name.
Uh,
Miranda here. Thank you for the next one. I actually haven't seen Jedi Temple Challenge yet. It's next on my docket now that Kelleron Beck is in the canon. It's a really fun watch.
It's super
honestly.
fun. It's super fast. Pick a team. Just pick a team color every episode and root for that team. And you'll have so much fun. Like that's literally all we did was at the start, Molly and I would choose which color team we liked and we would root for them. And it was fun.
Just as long as you keep in mind that it is a show meant for kids, about kids, you know, like it's a very lighthearted show, but it does have a lot of fun, cool facts in it. And it is really fun to pit the kids against each other in your mind.
And if you grew up watching Guts or Legends of the Hidden Temple or any of those kids game shows, it's a blast.
Yes.
Lord Husk, thank you for the next one. Can we all... Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Lord Husk. We'll have to wait to glorify you, but I will. Andrew 711, thank you for the next one. Can we all just agree that Grogu was given a giant commemorative pin or button by the armorer? Yeah, that was the Celebration exclusive.
Oh no. I didn't even think about that. That's funny.
Someone needs to make that for Celebration.
You didn't star Lord Hosks.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I missed 2. I missed 2 now out of 70.
But look how long it takes me to go find it.
Lord Hosk said, did I call it or did I call it? In 2020, I'm the best because Lord Hosk did suggest that Keller and Beck could be the one to save Grogu.
That's right. You brought him up.
Well
earlier.
done. I did. Well done, Lord Hosk.
Are they still in chat?
I don't know.
We shall celebrate his name. Hip hip hooray.
I'm the Stein. Thank you for another super chat. I once had a mythosaur ask me for about Tree Fitty.
I need about Tree Fitty.
That took me until almost the end of the super chat, but I did get it.
That takes me back.
Solid
man.
South Park reference.
God, is South Park still on?
Damn it, mythosaur! Get out of here!
I need about Tree Fitty. God, what a good show.
I haven't seen South Park in a long time.
Me neither. But
Anyway.
it really had some good hits.
Laserbolt videos, thank you for the next one. Is it possible Jar Jar was supposed to rescue Grogu and the Naboo ship, but it was just easier to use Ahmed's Jedi character instead? Just a fun thought. No, I think they went all in on Keller and Beck, and it was the right choice. I love that they did Keller and Beck, and I will choose to believe that was all on purpose. It was part of the plan, etc.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to bring back Ahmed Best, bring him back in all of his glory with no CGI, just his beautiful face, and put him in his own Jedi robes and call it a day.
Let him be a badass on screen, just the way they did. I loved it.
Yeah.
Calm Like a Bomb, thank you for another super chat. How much do we know about the path? Could we see a story where Kelleran helps to start the path? I would love that. I think it's possible.
You know what? I think we have a lot of very smart viewers because this has come up quite a few times, and I love this theory.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's great.
Kudos to all of you.
So let's see. Darth Nicholas has a few here. And I think 4 of them are related. So I'm going to read them in a row real quick.
Okay.
As much as I love D. Bradley Baker's performances, it was great to hear Tim Morrison coming off the heels of Kenobi using the clones once again. Voicing the clones once again, this time with new lines and not pre-recorded old lines, as in the Book of Boba Fett Order 66 scene. Hearing Tim voice the clones once again induced a lot of nostalgia in me and immediately took me back to 2004 and 2005 and my memories playing Battlefront 1, Republic Commando, and Battlefront 2. It's so crazy to think Battlefront 2 was Tim's last time voicing any clones, not all of them, like he did in Battlefront 1 before Kenobi and now Mando Season 3. I would love to hear him more often now. This episode, Andor and Kenobi, make me wish they used live action and not CGI clones in the prequels. I just don't understand why they couldn't use physical instead of digital armor in the prequels. Oh,
there was too many of them.
They could have. They just didn't.
There was way too many of them. Also, yeah, George really wanted to just make them all CGI because that idea just tickled him to death. And he was like, the more CG characters we can create, the less money these movies are going to cost to make, in his mind, but that's not necessarily true.
But Nicholas brings up something I did want to point out earlier, and that was when I first heard the clones' voices, I was like, wait, that sounds off, because it wasn't D. Bradley Baker. Like, that has become so ingrained in me that I heard that voice and I was like, that's Jango Fett. And I was like, oh, wait, no, that's right. That's how it should be in live action. I get it. But
yeah,
I am so used to D. Bradley Baker as the clones.
It is a subtle detail. And now that I hadn't thought about it, but now that I'm thinking about it, I did hear the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of like made the scene even better for me. I was already having a great time.
You just saying you had a great time. I was like, Dad, I had a great time today. Today was a great day for a Star Wars fan.
It was.
Oh, but Spiral, I haven't read this all, but they might need some help. Spiral needs some Star Wars counseling. Thank you for your super chat. I used to be a canon completionist. Mid 2019, I fell off the wagon. Too much content, and some of it meh. Now I only read and watch what I like, but feel like I'm missing context because I haven't kept up. Oh, I don't know if I can counsel you on that. I mean, I think you're doing the right thing. If you like, you should do what is right for your fandom. If being a completionist is not fun to you, I don't recommend you be a completionist.
Is it fun for you?
Yeah, but like, we have the advantage of this being our job, which is thanks to everyone watching, all of our subscribers, our patrons, etc. Like, it is no longer my free time, you know, that I don't get off of work and go home to read a
Right.
Star Wars book that I'm like, I'm not into this. Like, if I'm reading a Star Wars book, it is for my job. So we have different perspectives, but it does mean that being a completionist is enjoyable for me. I would
Yeah.
not, that there are definitely some comics that I would have stopped reading if I did not have the channel. Probably wouldn't keep up with hyperspace stories, or I probably would have dropped off of the Bounty Hunter comics, the most recent Darth Vader comics. I may have gotten the trade paperbacks, but it wouldn't be a month to month thing.
I will say, I love that you are the completionist of the two of us, because even though I am very much a part of this channel and work very hard to be as big of a part of it as I can be, even I don't read everything, because I'm not that big of a reader, you know. Like, my mind just wanders. I got other stuff that I am thinking about constantly, and like, I love these stories to death. I just can't. I'm like you. I can't keep up with them.
Well,
I don't.
and I think it's the same thing, is that just because you're a part of a Star Wars channel, I don't think you should be a completionist for that sake. You should only
Right.
do it if you like it. And I
Right.
do like it. And I mentioned comics that if I were reading them in my free time, I probably wouldn't keep up with them as well as I do. But since I am fortunate enough to read them as a job, I'll read them, and I will enjoy them. I'll find things to like about them. And some of them go up and down for me, but overall, I'm just like, hey, today I got to read Star Wars.
I will say, for you, you know, I don't want to toot our own horn, but like, I mean, we do cover book reviews and things like that, but there are other creators out there. Like, I know Broaxium covers a lot of the comics, if not all of them.
Broaxium comics with Katarn. Well, Kyle Katarn is his channel name, but he does a weekly comics with Katarn.
Yeah. So there are a ton of other amazing content creators out there that are doing these in-depth reviews of all the books, all the comics. And I would suggest going and seeking them out, because even I've done that. If Alex doesn't do a deep enough review, an explanation of a book
you
or a
could just
comic
come
story,
talk to me.
you're busy. You get mad when I ask you too many questions. I will go look up someone else's video on it, because maybe I want a fresh new perspective. Maybe I don't want to bother you. Either way, there are
Stop
other
asking me questions when I'm on the toilet. That's all I ask.
There are other amazing content creators out there that go into detail about a lot of the content that you might feel like it's getting to be too much. And just know that you're not alone. It's fine to not read and see everything. as long as you get the major beats, you're there, you're enjoying it. Even if you just go and look up the basic storyline plot synopsis of like the big High Republic books, the adult books, you're in the club.
Yeah. Well, it's also just such a gamble, because who would have guessed that Jedi Temple Challenge would have been, I don't want to call it required viewing, but like I certainly didn't think when we were watching it 3 years ago that like this is going to come back. It just, you never know what is or isn't going to come back. So I understand the pressure to feel like you should be a completionist, but if it's not fun for you, don't do it. Like do something you enjoy.
But like it was exciting for us because we did watch Jedi Temple Challenge while it was coming out in 2020. But I imagine it's just as exciting to see Ahmed Best on screen and say, "Who is that?" and go find out for the first time that character already exists and it's part of a children's game show. Like I would love to go back in time and watch that for the first time. After having seen him be the one to save Grogu, I would be like so psyched to relive that experience.
Yeah. I look forward to talking to my casual friends about this, but we're going to try to, we got to rally and move fast. Let's try to finish in 11 minutes. We have dinner to eat and things to do. Let's roll. Joel Davis, thank you for the next one. I have one worry, is that fans are projecting a bit on the way and the cult, and I'm not sure what Favreau wants to say with them just yet. I have the same worry. I'm not always sure what he wants to say. I do think he knows, but sometimes I wonder. I have that worry too.
I feel like I've seen a lot of people agree with this statement, especially today, but just kind of along the way so far in the newest season of Mando. And it's valid. It's valid because it is a little bit confusing as to what direction they're trying to take this. They've kind of strung us along for a long time of what the armorer wants. We still don't know. Like that's getting a little bit frustrating for me of like, all right, we've known the armorer for 3 seasons now. What is her end goal? We don't know.
And we probably won't for a while.
I agree. That can be frustrating.
I agree that I have that worry too. I think he probably knows what he wants to say. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. They're just trying to pack in as much fun stuff along the way as possible.
Calm Like a Bomb. Thank you for the next, or another super chat, I should say. This will forever be known as the best episode with a capital B. Love it.
The best. The Ahmed Best.
Mr. Dr. Professor Puce or Poose, we haven't decided how to say that yet. I think people would be less upset about multiple focus characters if they just renamed the show to The Mandalorians and had Book of Boba Fett as a subtitle for that show. That's how I've been envisioning it. I don't know if I'm just not seeing people complain about that. But again, we have strategically muted terms and people who are known for complaining. So maybe we just have a finely curated timeline, but it does not bug me at all.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to finely tune my internet experience, and you shouldn't be either. I say use that block and mute button a lot.
Like, I don't know why people are complaining about Grogu getting a focus of a third of this episode. He is like the second main character of the series. So
yeah, he is. Well, okay.
Pershing, I kind of get, but we need to know what's going on with the New Republic.
Yeah, and I do like that they used Dr. Pershing to get us to that point, because I thought that was a nice touch because his character has so many layers. Anyways, we still don't know who the Mandalorian, quote unquote, is about. Who is the Mandalorian, the title character? Is
still
it
think it's
Din?
Din.
Could be Grogu. Could be Bo. It's probably Din, but it works in a lot of different ways.
Ulrika Schulman, thank you for another super chat. I felt sorry for Bo this episode. She looked so sad and alone by the fire. She seemed like she looked for approval from the rest. I liked how nice and kind she was with Grogu. Yeah, she just didn't. She seemed lost this episode.
I just had a thought. We just saw them around a fire in the last episode, her talking about Pog soup and how much it was a tradition and like how shocked she was when Din said he'd never had it. Like that was a pivotal moment for all of them. They were bonding.
Mm-hmm.
And then bookend it with this moment around a fire, and she has to eat alone. Helmet off, alone, talking to no one.
Yeah. Sad. It is sad. And that's one of the moments where we both rolled our eyes when Paz Vizsla was like, this is the way. And we're like, this is so dumb. Stop it.
I kept thinking, this is what you do when you have to go take a dump and you're camping. You go off, you find your own little spot, and you do your business.
Yeah, because they're like ashamed to show their face.
But like eating a meal together is like what family does.
Yeah, it's not a shameful thing. Come on. Come on, people.
Come on.
That's so not Pog. I love it.
Right?
Page Turners, they were not. Thank you for the next super chat. Hey, Alex and Molly, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hello. Hi.
Ulrika, thank you for another super chat. Do you think that Kelleran instructed Grogu that was his teacher? Yes, I do. I think, even though he called him kid, I think Kelleran knew Grogu.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah, because I'll bring it up again. Just the fact that he had that line, everything's going to be all right, kid. That's in the time that we got that line in this episode. I think they did that on purpose so that anyone could attribute that to them. You can put yourself in the shoes of Grogu and imagine yourself being saved by Ahmed Best.
Darth Nicholas, thank you for the next one. Do you think Kelleran Beck was on an undercover assignment on Coruscant's underworld in Attack of the Clones? Oh, the way Quinlan was in The Phantom Menace, a clone of Beck, maybe. No, my current fan theory headcanon is that Kelleran Beck and Ahmed Beck are twin brothers, and poor Ahmed Beck has to take the brunt of his parents. They're always on him. Like, why can't you just stop being a con man and get a respectable job like your brother Kelleran? He's a Jedi Master. He teaches children. Ahmed, be more like Kelleran. That sounds like such a rich backstory for Ahmed Beck.
For those of you who might not know who Ahmed Beck is, there's a scene in episode 2 in the Outlander Club when Anakin and Obi-Wan are in there, and Ahmed Best makes a cameo, and he is canonically known as
Ahmed Beck.
Ahmed Beck. And he's standing next to his friend Fatoni.
Daniel Fatoni is not in that specific shot, but he is next to Amanda or Katie Lucas. I can't recall which one that is.
Yeah.
One of the Lucas daughters.
That's who we're talking about when we bring up his other canon character. We don't know if they're related, but the last names are the same, so I assume they are.
I think they are. I think that was on purpose. Redbeard, thank you for the next super chat. Do the living waters shine due to Beskar mining? I think that's Beskar ore. I think that's the implication.
Yeah.
Bo-Katan said that the living waters gave their ancestors Beskar ore.
Yeah. That makes sense. I just assumed it was fancy glitter water, because that's always what I assume.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like that.
Diego Emanol, thank you for the next one. May the Force guide Brian Ward in his quest to Photoshop Dexter Jetster into Mando every week.
Yes. Anyone who cares about our thumbnails or art in general, go follow Brian Ward on Twitter, because he did an amazing Photoshop of Dexter Jetster being the one trying to get through that door in the Jedi Temple.
I forgot about that.
he's just holding a little DoorDash bag. This is great.
I was going to show his latest Photoshop, but yeah, this is the man that makes our thumbnails. So you should go support him, Brian Ward
Oh.
on Twitter, and he is photoshopping Dexter Jetster into the Mandalorian every week
Until he shows up, which I applaud him for that.
Fingers crossed. David Livingston, thank you for the next one. I nominate for headcanon that Kelleran Beck was hidden away, and the Jedi Temple Challenge is him training Jedi during the Imperial era. Ooh. I think
No way.
that's incorrect. But I like the thought. Because he had like a Jedi ship, he had 2 Jedi droids.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fun idea. I think Jedi Temple Challenge as a show is not technically canon. His character is, and he did train younglings, but that show of normal humans from normal human towns did not
Todd
exist.
from Nebraska.
Yeah.
That was excellent. I'm the Stein. Thank you for another super chat. If Mandalorian is about what it means to be a Mandalorian, then is Ahsoka going to be about what it means to be a Force user? Probably not.
What?
Okay, go ahead. You gasped at that. I just think that Ahsoka is a separate show written by a separate man and will probably be about separate things. But Ahsoka would fit that category, I think, as a not strictly a Jedi, as in she graduated from Jedi college kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I said it earlier, Grogu being in this show brings a lot of questions of what it is to be a Mandalorian and what it is to be a Jedi, because he was outright given the choice to pick one of the two. But I think in the end, he's going to use some combination of both teachings, right? He's not going to be this gladiator of a fighter swinging the darksaber around willy-nilly, and he's not going to be meditating all day on a rock. He's going to be something in between. And I think Ahsoka is probably going to, over time, explore what her role is in the galaxy, not necessarily what it is to be a Force user, but because she doesn't necessarily identify as Jedi, or maybe she does, I'm not sure. Like, we're going to explore that and probably continue to explore these hard rules that are put on these titles of Jedi Mandalorian.
You changed my mind off of my snap impulse decision. I think that actually makes a lot of sense.
Some loose version of that, yes.
I do like that. Sweet Feet Pete, thank you for the next one. Do Mandos have to leave their helmet on to make kid? I'm going to read that as written. I know you didn't mean to write it that way, but I love it.
This actually came up earlier in the stream, and as far as we know, yes.
I think Paz Vizsla, yes. Anyone that's outside of the Children of the Watch, no.
It's going to sound like this. Just a lot of clanging around. Sorry if that was loud.
It was worth it. Freezy2324, thank you for the next super chat. Where do you think Grogu was up until Mando Chapter 1, and where was Ahsoka during the Galactic Civil War? Ahsoka was stuck on Malachor. What are you giggling about?
Chat's reaction to that.
Oh, wow.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was in some Legends comic. I like that. That's. I think Ahsoka was stuck on Malachor, and whenever she got out through the world between worlds, probably took her to present day. I'm going to accept that as headcanon for now. Grogu, I don't know. Pirates took him.
Pirates. Either that or he was hanging out with the Gungans in the Gungan city for a while, which would make sense. Oh, he'd be hidden down there until pirates attacked
Yeah.
and stole him.
But the real answer is we have no idea about who those people were that had Grogu.
Mm.
Justin Carter, thank you for the next one. Scob the Empire. I'd love to see a Grogu comic series set 200 years in the future and tells his stories as a Mandalorian adventurer when he's grown. I think that's a
loved
great
it.
idea. I don't think they'll do it until the series, the live action series, is done.
Oh yeah. No, they're not going to reveal anything about Grogu's that far into Grogu's future for that now. But I do. We've talked about the idea of Grogu being a wise teacher to future foundlings and Mandalorians.
It would be wild if they did like a 5-issue miniseries when the series was over and every issue was 100 years into the future. So like jump 100 years, one issue, jump 200 years issue. Just like really follow his life for 5 issues. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
And Justin has the next one as well. Thank you. Why is it hard for the armor to believe a mythosaur still exists when things like crate dragons are running around? I'm sorry if I missed this one too.
You did.
Oops.
Sorry, I can't bring it up because it hasn't been starred. Sorry, read it again.
It was 8:43. Why is it hard for the armor to believe the mythosaur still exists when things like the crate dragon are running around? I
think it's because it means so much to their culture that and she's spent this whole time telling her whole covert that Mandalore is poison. We can't go back there. There's nothing there worth going back to. And the thought of a mythosaur being there, stuck there all by a little lonesome, she's like, oh no.
Yeah. I can't decide if she believes or not, and if she is just like, I'm gonna keep this information to myself or what. But
she did have just like this one little moment where she kind of like snapped back at Bo. Like,
yeah.
What did you say?
I think I'm done guessing what the armorer is gonna say or do, because I'm always wrong about it. I just can't track her. I don't know.
I can't shake him.
Can't shake her. Garth McMurray, thank you for the next super chat. Flash forward to Grogu versus Ragnar to rule Mandalore. Ragnar loses.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
He got stolen by a giant bird.
Yeah.
And got swallowed up.
If there were like a campaign to get voted as Mandalore, that'd be the first thing Grogu said. It's like, hey, vote for a candidate who never got stolen and eaten for a day by a giant bird. Which, by the way, that wigged me out. The fact that he was in that bird for like a day at least, and then he got gagged up. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, well, we know that Boba Fett can survive in a Sarlacc pit, so something about that armor really helps out in the digestive system of a monster.
Jack Grinnan, thank you for the next super chat. I lived in London for school and just moved back right before celebration. Terrible timing. Why is that terrible? Oh, you moved away from London? Okay. I'm wondering what type of project that we haven't heard about yet would you like to see announced there? Regardless of the rumors and stuff swirling around it, I hope to get some movie news.
Well, we've heard lots of rumors about movie news, so a project that we haven't heard about yet that we would like to see. I want to see something new for the parks. Galaxy's Edge needs something else to do. Like, we've been there several times now. There's a lot of fun shopping to do. There's like 2 big rides. And that's it. Then the other thing you can do is eat and stand in line and eat more. Like, it needs something else to do, and I don't know what that is, but I would love them to announce anything else for Galaxy's Edge.
That is true. We've been there enough times that we're like, okay, we've done it all, and I'll do it all again, and I would do it all again tomorrow. But
not complaining. We've only done Rise of the Resistance once.
True.
But it is just another ride you have to sign up for and wait in line for, and yeah.
I want to point out that Geography Geek apparently found the map where the opening shot took place on Google Maps.
Wait, what?
That's impressive. The first shot of episode 3. Okay. Wait. Episode 3 or 4? It's at Lake Powell, Tower Butte in the background, right on the Arizona-Utah border. That sounds like desert. That sounds like today's episode. But it spent half the stream on Google Maps. Congratulations for finding it.
That's incredible.
That is dedication.
4. Episode 4. Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Because I can see that opening shot.
Way to live up to your name. Love it. Love it.
Well done. Garth McMurray has the next super chat. Thank you, Garth. Will Grogu use the Force to throw his little round shield around like Captain America does, ricocheting it to hit several enemies? We discussed that today.
I think that this is very likely. I think, well, they didn't give him a little bracelet, but like, there's something electronic about that tiny shield that makes me think he'll be able to control it with something. I don't know. Maybe it was just a bunch of really
will work for me.
Well, yeah, that too. But maybe it was just a bunch of really fancy magnets. Maybe regular magnets don't work on Beskar, so that's what all that extra work was. But I don't know.
I would like to see him throw it.
Me too. Especially Captain America style. Just he could throw it. He could ride it. He could do anything.
I'm going to read the next 2 super chats from Darth Shibby as I giggle at their profile picture, which it just says, Sha Sha Shibby, fart, fart, no face, wind. I don't know what that last emoji is. And the second super chat is similar. That just says, sweet, sweet Shibby, fart, fart, no face, wind.
I'm intrigued.
You're handling this very well. I thought you were going to laugh more.
Are those fart emojis? They just look like wind.
I think we know what those are.
I mean, yeah, I use them as fart emojis, but like, it's not the same. But thank you so much, Darth Shibby. I would love to know if there's like a decoder ring for these that we have to write into. Is it an Ovaltine deal? What do we have to do to get this? I'm into it though. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm going to read Decaf Coffee's next. Thank you. It says, first Mando after show I've made this season. I usually work late. I'm so happy for Ahmed Best. My only fear is he dies protecting Grogu. I'm also terrified of that likely possibility. I was afraid we were going to see it today. I was thrilled he escaped.
Yeah, I mean, if he did die protecting Grogu, then he died doing what he devoted his life to. And it would be sad, but I think it would be a noble end for that character because of what he has devoted his life to. You know, he's accomplished a lot.
I kind of think that's likely his fate, unfortunately, but I'm thrilled that we got him at all.
Yes.
Okay, and we're down to the last 3 here from Darth Nicholas. I'm going to read them all. Thank you, Nicholas, so much. Could you see Boba Fett providing a refugee to the children of the Watch at Jabba's palace or Tatooine generally if they grow tired of the constant Predator attacks? Would you like to see such a thing? That would be an interesting way to bring Boba Fett back into the story. Just be like, hey.
Yeah, because I said earlier, I was like, what if they get too many?
Yeah. Should have mentioned this earlier, but I have to give myself a pat on the back for predicting correctly last week that we would revisit Grogu's Order 66 flashback this week. Well done. I don't know if you've noticed.
That was a good call.
Yeah.
Because
don't
I
know
was
if-
not expecting that. Sorry.
I think we thought it once we saw that the title was The Foundling, but that was like 2 days ago, so I didn't
Yeah.
call it a week ago. I don't know if you've noticed, but I love how Tim seems to differentiate his clone voice from his Django and Boba voice, giving his clones a more sterile voice encompassed within a battle-hardened personality. Wouldn't surprise me if he basically did that because of D. Bradley Baker.
Mm-hmm. Just to, be a little different.
Yeah, because D. Bradley Baker makes all of his clones distinct.
And I feel like Tim would want to put a little twist on it, coming back to doing this after so long. Why not?
Yeah. And will we see more Grogu and Quebec? I like that nickname, not to be confused with Quebec. Flashbacks in the season as the season continues, maybe see his fate. In the 2005 Battlefront 2, Naboo shelters several Jedi survivors of Order 66. I do think we're going to see, if we're treating it kind of like we did for season 1 with Din, and he had 2 or 3 flashbacks in season 1, I think Grogu will do the same thing.
Yeah, I don't think they can just leave it at what we saw today and say, all right, that explains it.
Yeah, I think there's more to see.
My AirPods just died.
Oh.
Of course. Hold on. Go ahead and start wrapping up.
Okay, I'll start wrapping up. Well, first, I think I saw Darth Nicholas say, yeah, we forgot to say, would we like to see such a thing? Would we like to see the foundlings at Jabba's palace? I'd be down for that. Like I said, I think it's a good way to bring him back into the story. So yeah, I think that's fun to have all the Mandalorians gather at his place. But it is 9:44. Yeah.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. It's 9:44. We are going to wrap up. I am exhausted. I'm hungry. So thank you.
You didn't have your cheese. That's
I didn't
why.
have any cheese. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. I'm glad that so many people seem to love this episode as much as we did. But we are going to wrap up for today.
Go watch Jedi Temple Challenge. Do yourself a little favor.
Everyone go watch Jedi Temple Challenge.
We might give it a rewatch.
I would watch it again. I don't remember who all wins.
I honestly kind of want to rewatch a little bit of it.
I would do that. We will be back tomorrow to talk about the Bad Batch while we build the Lego Razor Crest. I will say that next Wednesday, we are planning on streaming. We are ramping up into celebration time, and other things are happening. So next week's going to be a little weird.
We're traveling.
Yeah, we're traveling.
On top of London travel, we're traveling before that. So this time next week we'll be out of town, so we probably won't be able to stream longer than like an hour.
We do plan on streaming next week to cover episode 5, and we will stream. We'll be back home next Thursday, so we'll also have that stream. Next week is just going to be a mess, and so will the week after that because of celebration.
It's also going to be like a different time of day.
Yeah,
a lot earlier probably. Maybe we'll start extra early. Let you guys get your questions in, and then because we won't have a guest, we can just go straight into chat questions.
Yeah. So, yeah, just be prepared to see some different stuff next week, at different times, but we're going to figure it out. We're planning on streaming both Wednesday and Thursday next week if everything goes well. But yeah. That's it for Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you all for hanging out. We're going to go eat a late dinner. May the force be with you. And because they said it a couple times tonight and I really liked it, this is the way.